Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with Attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we are going to do something monumental. Today we are going to do the top 10 moments from the entire Karen Read trial. From beginning to end, we're going to go through our favorite moments. Kerry Roberts, Jennifer McCabe, Shannon Burgess, Yuri Buchanan may make an appearance. That voir dire between Dr. Wolf and Brennan when he signaled Bev that he's got nothing. The moment when Alessi highlights that the holes in the hoodie were made by the criminologist and not when John slid across the floor. I mean, folks, the jury is going to resume deliberations tomorrow. And this is the criminal case of the century. We had the civil case of the century. That was the Johnny Depp trial. Now we have the criminal case of the century, and that is the Karen Read retrial. Both of them are kind of like, they're one case, and when you really want to think about it that way. We had case one, now we have case two, because we didn't have a verdict. A full verdict in case one, even though the jury voted 2 out of 3 not guilty. They were hung on the second charge, 1 out of 3, and Bev sent them back. So we'll see what happens in this case this coming week. And with that, folks, enjoy the top 10 Karen Read trial moments.
The evidence in this case will establish above everything else 3 points. There was no collision with John O'Keefe.
Yes! Oh my God, yes! Oh my God, 1,000 times yes. There was no collision. Melanie Little, you and I, we did this. We did that. We helped them. They're using it. They're using it. Oh my God. I am to the moon and back. All right, let's keep watching.
There was no collision. There was no collision.
Those are the 3 things.
John O'Keefe did not die from being hit by a vehicle. Period. The facts will show that.
Thank you, Melanie.
The evidence will show that. The data will show that. The science will show that. And the experts will tell you that. You'll learn that the Commonwealth has pinned its entire case on a brazen and a flawed assertion that is untethered, unconnected to the facts and to the evidence.
Oh, those words.
And their assertion is contrary to science.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, folks, there was no collision with John O'Keefe.
You have to keep repeating it just so they learn. Yep. Because this is going to be a long trial. The theme is there was no collision. John was not hit by a car. Remember the interview that Melanie Little and I did? John was not hit by a car. There was no collision. Same thing. And he has to keep repeating it. That's his theme. There was no collision. There was no collision. He died because of other reasons. Rather than putting the burden on himself, because when you say Karen Read was framed for the murder of John O'Keefe, it's hard. Now you put the burden on yourself. Now you have to prove through the trial. The jury's going to be expecting you to prove that he was framed. But by saying that there was no collision, you take the burden off of you. You don't have to prove who framed her, who is the actual murderer. The jury's not going to wait for you to disclose who the actual killers are. You know, Higgins, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, etc. Now the onus is back on the prosecution. You no longer have to worry about having to prove your case, because you don't have to prove your case as a defense. But juries are people. They understand simple things. They understand, like, well, you're going to tell me she's been framed. Who is she being framed by? But if John O'Keefe was not hit by a car, there was no collision. You see? That's what I'm talking about. Oh my God. I am on cloud 9 right now.
So how did we end up here? How does Karen Read end up sitting in that chair on trial for an event that literally never happened? Well, the evidence is going to explain it. And it can be summed up in the following text message at the very beginning of this investigation. A text message of a now fired Massachusetts State Police officer named Michael Proctor.
Yes.
He was the lead investigator on this
See,
case.
oh, this is huge because now they get to say, now fired. And they already know what he's going to say because he said it in the first trial. Now they're painting a beautiful picture. Let's keep watching.
And he was talking about a fellow officer, a fellow cop, who owned the property where John O'Keefe's body was found. Text message with a buddy. Question, is the homeowner going to catch any shit? Answer, nope. He's a Boston cop too.
Let that marinate.
That quote defines the lack of integrity of the Commonwealth's entire case, its entire investigation, and this prosecution. During the course of this trial, you'll learn much more about Mr. Proctor, why he said that, and what it really means. What you'll see and hear in this courtroom in the coming weeks is not just a story of a tragic loss. And make no mistake, John O'Keefe's death is and was a tragic and tragic loss. But the story you'll hear is about an investigation that was riddled with errors from the beginning, a rush to judgment, conflicted, and corrupted from the start. Corrupted by bias, corrupted by incompetence, and corrupted by deceit. Finally, it was corrupted by a deliberate effort to avoid and to cover up the very truth that you are seeking. You'll find when you hear the evidence that the Commonwealth's case is the literal definition of reasonable doubt. They won't be able to talk their way out of it. They won't be able to explain their way out of it. They won't be able to excuse their way out of it. And they can't meet their extreme burden of proof, which the court will tell you is beyond any and all reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. Members of the jury, Karen Reed found John O'Keefe dead on the front lawn of a Boston police officer, Brian Albert, at 6 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Picture the scene. Blood-curdling screams. Ambulances, emergency lights on, fire engines, ladder trucks, paramedics, patrol vehicles, patrol cruisers, police officers, first responders, firefighters, all swarming all over Brian Albert's lawn. Literally feet under his bedroom window.
I love how they're painting a picture. Feet under his bedroom window. Look at how many people, and he's about to say, we already know it's coming. Not one of them went inside the house to talk to Brian. Not one of them thought just for a second, hey, we should go in. No, we shouldn't go in. There's no reason to. He's a Boston cop. We protect our own. Oh, the one lying on the ground? Hey, he's dead. We don't need to protect him. Watch. He's about to say it, I'm sure.
Brian Albert, a sworn peace officer, a first responder himself.
At the time.
Never came outside. Never went outside to see what the chaos was about. Never went outside to see if he could assist a man in need. Never walked outside his house to see if he could help a fallen fellow officer on his own front lawn.
Yep. That's huge. Oh, my God.
More shockingly, you'll learn that lead investigator for the Massachusetts police, Michael Proctor, never set foot inside Brian Albert's house.
There it is.
That day. Never engaged in any investigation inside that house that day, even though a party with much alcohol had just occurred in that house, and even though a Boston police officer was found dead or dying just mere feet from the front door on that lawn.
Feet from the front door.
He never secured the crime scene, never separated and secured witnesses. He never properly collected evidence. He never secured the evidence. He never searched for signs of a struggle inside or outside the home. He never properly canvassed the neighborhood. Michael Proctor never did any of these things.
Yep.
Even though fellow officers of Michael Proctor's actually mentioned, in their words, not mine, that it looked like John O'Keefe may have been, quote, in a fight.
See? Right there. How do you talk about framing without using the word frame? John O'Keefe was not struck by a vehicle. In fact, facts show he has been beaten. He was in a fight. Now the jury is going to think the word framing. Jackson never said it. That's lawyer work right there, folks. To make the person think the word you want them to think without saying it. That gives it so much more power, so much more panache, Everybody on the defense team have the je ne sais quoi. That goes without saying. Alessi, Jannetty, Little, Jackson included. I mean, I'm fangirling over them, obviously. It's not a secret. Everybody who's been watching my channel long enough know this. But there's a reason why I'm fangirling over them. It's not because I'm a criminal defense attorney. You know, in my civil cases, I'm a prosecutor. Did you know that? Not like a prosecutor in the strictest definition of the word. I represent you, the viewer. You know? I represent you with your interest. So-and-so hurt me. Well, I'm gonna talk to Larry. Larry, sue the crap out of them and make sure I get compensated. 1-844-774-HURT. That's our firm. We do personal injury. That's what Jackson is doing. He is becoming the prosecutor in this case. This is unbelievable. Jackson is now the prosecutor. He is not the defense attorney. Do you feel the paradigm shift from the moment he started speaking, 5-10 minutes ago when we started this video? When was that? About 12 minutes in at the recording of this video, of course, with all the segments chopped out in maybe 10 minutes or something like that, as my editor, Boyan, shout out to you, my friend, is cleaning this up. I'm telling you folks, Jackson is the prosecutor here. The roles have been flipped. It is Hank Brennan who has to defend and prove his case. And now he's got to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, and Jackson is just the prosecutor. And like I said, in civil cases, you become the prosecutor. That's why I love doing civil cases. I love doing civil work, because in criminal defense, I already win criminal defense cases. I win when the burden is entirely on the prosecution. Now, with a smaller burden, are you kidding? Going to federal court, going to state court, that's like my new favorite thing. Saying, good morning, Your Honor, they owe us millions of dollars. Pay. And then on the other side, they're like, huh? No, we don't. And here's why. And I'm like, oh, well, here's why. And you do. And then you just fight it out in court. It's great. Like I said, I love my new pivot. I'm moving away from criminal defense. I'll still do criminal defense, by the way, for those of you wondering. I promise I'll go back to the video in 5 seconds. But for those of you wondering, I am still doing criminal defense. It's just I want to do high stakes criminal defense, like white collar crime. I love federal work. I love going to federal court. Federal court is like my new favorite thing. Thank you, Deuce, by the way, for introducing me, like reintroducing. I've done federal work before. It's been a long, long time. And I've been forced back into federal work. And oh my God, it is amazing. On both sides. I love federal court. It's rules, 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 and more rules. I used to like district court because, it was more chaotic. Now, rules galore. And that's where you make the most money, the viewer. You, in civil cases and in criminal cases, yeah, I make more money, but you're not going to prison for 50 years. Big difference, 1 year, 50 years, or 30 days, 40 years. You see the difference? I've moved on to higher stakes things. All right, let's get back to the video.
During the course of this trial, you'll find that the Commonwealth will not have answers. You'll see from the evidence in this case that this case carries a malignancy, one that is spread through the investigation, it's spread through the prosecution from the very start, from the jump. A cancer that cannot be cut out, a cancer that cannot be cured. And that cancer has a name.
I love it.
And his name is Michael Proctor. Now, you didn't hear his name in the prosecution's opening statement.
Of course not.
Not once.
Of course.
And I suspect that was probably by design. But make no mistake about it. The evidence will show in this case that Michael Proctor is the very definition of the Commonwealth's case.
Yes. Oh, I love it. He is synonymizing Michael Proctor with the prosecution's case. Now, every time they think Michael Proctor, they think, oh, this is their whole case. Everything else is water. And for the next few weeks, as they're going to be listening to testimony, they're just going to keep waiting. Where is this Michael Proctor? No? Okay, well, I guess this is not the important one. And they're going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And when the prosecution doesn't call him and the defense has to call him, if Hank Brennan is stupid enough, I'm sure he's watching this video right now. Hi, Hank. If you're stupid enough not to call Michael Proctor during your case in chief, because you have to do it. You're going to be shooting yourself in the foot either way, but not calling him is going to be 100 times worse than if you call him. So I know you're going to call him because I told you to now.
He's also their Achilles heel. He was the lead investigator on the case officer, the architect of the entire prosecution. You'll learn there's not a single part of this case, folks, not a single part, that he didn't touch, that he didn't direct, that he didn't orchestrate personally. Every single bit of it has his fingerprints on it. You'll learn that Michael Proctor was a longtime family friend of the Alberts. Mm-hmm. And he's been disgraced by his own agency, not by us, by the Massachusetts State Police. investigated, suspended,
And fired.
The evidence will show that Massachusetts State Police found him guilty, found Michael Proctor guilty of bringing dishonor to the department for his conduct, not in some other case, not in some tangential case, in this case. The investigation of Karen Reed. Conduct that included bias in favor of his friends, the all-powerful Albert family, and bias against my client, Miss Reed,
The outsider.
Do you have any idea how hard it is for a state trooper to get fired?
Yeah.
The evidence is going to show that Michael Proctor earned it. Every bit of it.
And then some.
You'll hear that within hours of a Boston police officer being found dead on Brian Albert's lawn, Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, who had investigated exactly nothing up to this point, right at the beginning, made an early pronouncement that Brian Albert himself was not going to, quote, catch any shit, end quote. And that was for one reason, and one reason only.
To protect him.
He's a Boston cop.
Yep.
The evidence will show that Michael Proctor made this statement in a text conversation with his high school buddies. A text he never thought would see the light of day, certainly never thought we would get a hold of.
Of course not.
And when he thought no one was looking, he actually said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
He's a cop too. We'll give him a pass.
Oh my God.
You'll learn that in Michael Proctor's world, rank has its privileges. And the evidence will show that's privileges that you don't get and I don't get.
Yeah.
But apparently a Boston police officer, Brian Albert,
Gets.
and his friends, they do get. You'll learn that in Michael Proctor's world, he didn't care about finding the truth. In his world, his priority was to protect the brotherhood.
I love how his opening started out with, he wasn't hit by a car. A cop was being protected by another cop, even though there's a dead cop on the lawn. And he's focusing all of his energy on that rather than trying to paint framing and all that like he did in the first trial, like Jannetty did in the first trial. It was still a very, very good opening. I'm not trying to disparage Jannetty in any way, shape, or form. Believe me, I mean, I was fangirling over Jannetty in the opening in the first trial, over his opening in the first trial. But now that we know what we know, now that the first trial is ended, now that the first trial is ended in a mistrial, and we're in trial number 2, this is critical, absolutely critical for the defense, especially because they can't really talk about third-party culprit defense because Bev has pretty much all but excluded it, and the ARCA, he can't talk about the ARCA stuff. I understand the ARCA witnesses. I mean, they probably won't testify. Mark my words, Bev will find a way to make sure that the ARCA witnesses, Wolf and what's his name, don't testify. She'll find a way. She'll bend over backwards. She'll say, they're not testifying. I'm sorry. Nope. Mark my words. In 9 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now, that issue is going to come up and she's going to deny it. Because if she's not letting Jackson talk about it in opening, she's already pre-ruling. She's showing her intention to exclude the ARCA witnesses. And that's disgusting.
To protect that blue wall, to protect his friends who were at the Alberts' house that night. I want to take a step back, if I could, and spend the next few minutes talking a little bit more detail about what the actual facts in this case will show, not based on speculation, not based on surmise, not based on guesswork or conjecture, but the actual true facts that you will learn through the course of this trial. On January 28th, 2022, it was a Friday night. John and Karen had made plans to meet up with friends for drinks. It was a happy and normal night for them. They were affectionate, they were loving, they were in good spirits, nothing out of the ordinary. They started at a local watering hole called C.F. McCarthy's. You've heard that name before and you'll hear it again. And eventually they made their way over to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, another bar where they ended up. When they got to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, the Albert family was already there, already heavily drinking. You'll learn that this was no ordinary family, the Alberts. The Albert family was a well-known Canton family. Some might even describe them as a very powerful Canton family. Brian Albert was there at the Waterfall. You'll hear that he's a longtime Boston police officer. His wife, Nicole Albert, was there with him. His brother, Chris Albert, a powerful Canton politician. He sits on the select board. The select board actually governs the police department, the Canton PD. He was there. His wife, Julie Albert, was there. Their daughter, Caitlin Albert, was there. His sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe, was there. Her husband, Matt McCabe, was also there. They were all there drinking before John and before Karen ever arrived. You'll learn that a man by the name of Brian Higgins, also a law enforcement officer and longtime friend, longtime pal of Brian Albert, he was also there. And the two of them, the two Bryans, had been drinking most of the night together.
Playing grab ass.
You'll see video footage from the waterfall, which will show you that Karen and John were happy. They were affectionate. They were caring. They were loving. Just business as usual, out on a date on a Friday night. But that exact same video footage which lead investigator Michael Proctor plainly chose to ignore that video footage. It paints a very different picture of Brian Higgins. You'll learn that Higgins had romantic designs for Karen. That becomes important.
Later.
Brian Higgins had engaged Karen in flirtatious texts, but days earlier she had put a stop to it. She had ghosted him, in common parlance. In other words, just ignored him. The evidence will show that the first time he saw her and was in her presence after being rejected by her was when she walked into the Waterfall Bar and Grill along with her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. At 11:58 p.m., just minutes before John ultimately arrived at the Albert residence, you'll see a video at the waterfall of an unsettling interaction, troubling interaction between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe. And unlike the lead investigator, Michael Proctor, in this case, you won't ignore that evidence. As the bar was closing.
This was so big, folks. TMZ picked it up. I think this is a little outside the 30-mile zone for Hollywood, but we're going to let that one slide for this one because TMZ, thank you so much for doing this. I couldn't believe it. When somebody told me, like, Larry, you need to watch TMZ, I'm like, why would I watch TMZ? I don't want to hear about, so-and-so. They're like, no. They covered Kerry Roberts. I said, what? Watch this.
And the actual words used. You're as detailed about all of that as the actual words used.
Just for the record, this is the original cross-examination, and this is the final piece.
She asked her to Google hypothermia and how long, and then you stopped, Google hypothermia, end quote, correct?
Correct.
You will agree, at least for that purpose, you painted a very, very detailed picture in front of the grand jury, didn't you?
Yeah.
Except it's not true, is it?
I did not hear her ask that. I was told she was asked that.
The answer to my question, Ms. Roberts, and
by Jennifer.
Not a trick question. What you told the grand jurors was not true. You never heard her, my client, ask anyone to Google anything, did you?
I did not.
And yet, that's what you testified to under oath, under penalty of perjury, in front of the grand jury, didn't you?
I did.
And the reason you did that, the reason that you said that false statement was because someone told you to say it, correct?
Object. Correct.
Is that, I'm going to let her answer that.
Nobody told me to say it.
Yes, they did.
I knew it happened at that time.
How did you know?
Which is why I said it.
How could you know?
How did you know it happened, Ms. Roberts, if no one told you it happened?
Because
Yes.
we wrote a timeline. We already spoke about that.
Oh, so you wrote a timeline together with Jen. So she's the one who told you. Thank you very much for your answer, Ms. Roberts.
The line that Jennifer McCabe helped you with, that influenced your testimony in front of the grand jury, correct?
Yes.
Obviously.
I was telling what happened in the back of the cruiser.
The timeline
can answer.
you wrote,
So when you ask a question, let her answer, okay?
the timeline you wrote, with Jennifer McCabe's help, influenced your testimony to testify in front of the grand jurors to a statement that you never heard, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's it. She admitted it. I lied, and Jennifer McCabe influenced my testimony. It's locked in, folks. It's locked in. And when Jennifer McCabe takes the witness stand. Fireworks are going to fly, folks. It's going to be fireworks.
So you sent him what you thought would be the best questions and answers that he would ask you when you testified.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay?
Whoa. Hold on. What was that? Bev takes her glasses off. She is staring at Brennan. Brennan shakes his head. Auntie Bev nods and puts her glasses back on. Nonverbal communication between a lawyer prosecuting Karen Reed and the judge in the Karen Reed case. What? Watch this again.
No, sir. That is the attachment to the email.
You recognize reading that?
Yes.
Do you recognize...
Glasses come off.
Before you testified on...
He's looking straight at the judge. He's looking straight at the judge.
This with him. This is something that I sent to him, that I did on my own, and that I sent to him. But he never...
They're staring at each other. They're having a staring contest. Look at Bev. Bev is very intently... She's not listening to Wolf anymore. She's trying to find a way to exclude him, and she's waiting for Brennan to clue her in. Watch this.
...of me, and we never discussed it.
So you sent him what you thought would be the best questions and answers that he would ask you when you testified.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I prepare this on my own to prep myself and prepare for trial.
Oh, I think I got it. I think I just got it. Why did he shake his head? I think if I were to bet money, if you were to ask me to put $10,000 bet, that's how much I'm willing to bet. That's how confident I am about this, what I'm about to tell you. $10,000 I would put right now, ready to lose it, because I think I would win it and walk away with $20,000. Listen to this. Brennan and Bev are having ex parte communications behind the scenes. Yes, I've just said it. That is a violation. Kind of like that judge in Georgia who was having ex parte communications with the prosecutor. I am convinced now, based on this interaction, those two are talking behind Jackson, Jannetty, Little, and Alessi's backs. Those two are having conversations about the trial. They can have conversations all day long. There is no problem with them going to golf and going to dinner. Prosecutor and a judge, I mean, impropriety, sure. But as long as they talk about, you know, how pretty the DUI guy's set is, how gorgeous the weather is, as long as they're talking about, oh, did you hear about, you know, the Jets and the whatever... I don't do sports, sorry. You know, the game that happened. They can talk all they want. What they cannot talk about is this trial. And here's where my bet is. You guys ready for this? You're not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. $10,000. I'll put it on the table right now for anybody who wants to take it, because you will lose. $10,000 says Brennan and Bev had a conversation before putting Wolf on the stand that he's going to say, I'm going to crack him open. I have something, the text messages, I have something, the questions and answers. I have something, Bev. I have it. Give it to me. Let me do it. And Bev said, Brennan, no problem. I'll give it to you. I will force the defense to bring the ARCA witnesses to court. On Friday, I think it was April 25th when this testimony happened. I will bring them to court, or at least Wolf. I'll bring Wolf to court. I will force Jackson to procure Wolf, and I'm going to give you, you're going to have a field day. I'm going to give you carte blanche to do whatever you want. And right here, halfway through this clip, is Brennan conceding defeat. Basically, he's like, I have something. And after 12 minutes of questioning in this clip, it was longer in real time, because I'm giving you guys just the meat. I'm taking away the beans and the potatoes and the peas and the garnish, just so you guys can focus on the meat. So you get there's a Yiddish word, tachlis. I'm giving you the tachlis of this case, because I don't want to waste your time. I want you guys to get the most important, crucial moments. And this right here is an absolute critical moment. The $10,000 bet is Brennan had a conversation with Bev. Said, Bev, give me 20 minutes with this guy. I will crack him open. Bev said, here you go. Friday, April 25th, ARCA witnesses. Wolf is taking the stand. Wolf is on the stand. She is glaring at Brennan. Well, I gave you what you want. Are we good? Do you have him? Folks, we now have evidence of collusion. evidence on video of collusion between Brennan and the judge. And I know I said, you know, I want to play it one more time. This is a third time. This is how important it is. I want to play it a third time to make sure that everybody sees what I see, that I'm not just making it up, that I'm not just fabricating it, that I'm not just, this is huge. Evidence of collusion between the prosecutor and the judge. This is the first domino. See, Lally was a coward. Lally wasn't as cocky or confident. Brennan's confidence is going to be his downfall. Watch closely as Brennan shakes his head and Bev nods and looks down, putting her glasses back on, realizing, well, we tried. No, I'm sorry, I don't have them like I promised, Bev. Well, we tried. Notice I said we, not, well, you tried. No. We tried, because Bev is in on this. Everybody knows this by now. Wow. Oh my God.
Before you consider any electronic communications in your deliberations, and you heard Trooper Garino read a lot of text messages the other day. I didn't interrupt him, I probably should have, but before you consider any electronic communications in your deliberations, you must first find that it is more likely true than not that the person who either authored or created or transmitted the communication was in fact the person alleged. So here we have communications between, allegedly between Ms. McCabe and her sister. Before you can consider them, you must find that it's more likely than not that they were the people who sent and received those. If you do not find it's more likely true than not that the person alleged to have created or sent them, then you may not consider the electronic communication in deciding your case. Now, when you read or hear about these text messages, you may not consider the statements for their truth, but you may consider them solely for the limited purpose of understanding the state of mind of here Ms. McCabe when she sent those messages. All right. So
that's called a let me protect Jennifer in the best way that I can as judge moment. Because she basically just kind of prefaced that, well, first you have to believe that Jennifer is the actual author. Just because it says Jennifer and just because it says her phone number, maybe it wasn't Jennifer. That's going to be up to you to decide. And they're just like, oh. No, they're not. They're going to go, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you protecting her? They may not be thinking it yet, but they will in a moment. You'll see.
now that's what I needed to do. Mr. Jackson, your turn.
Thank you, Your Honor. With the court's permission, I would ask that the January 29th text be published.
Yes.
Ms. McCabe, does this appear to be a representative copy of what you're looking at that's just been marked for evidence?
Yes, it does.
Can you read for the jurors what you texted to your sister at 7:54?
Sure. Kerry talked to the cops and kept it simple.
Who's Kerry?
Kerry Roberts.
And this is a text that you sent about Miss Roberts' interview with the police?
Yes, it is.
Read that for me one more time.
Sure. Okay. Try and get some sleep. Talk tomorrow. Any update?
What did you mean by any update?
I meant had she heard anything or learned anything new. We'll get more info tomorrow. Don't want to text about it. Right. Okay. Text me in AM or if you hear anything later.
Don't want to text about it, correct?
Yes.
TOMM means tomorrow?
Yes.
This was January 29th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Tomorrow would have been January 30th,
Yes.
2022. Is that right?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Does this appear to be a group chat between and among yourself, Nicole Albert, Chris Albert, and Matt McCabe?
I don't believe Chris Albert's on that.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Brian Albert.
Yeah, Brian,
Okay.
sorry.
So the four of you?
Yes.
Okay. And does this appear to be a group chat that was engaged between and among y'all on February 1st, starting, I'm going to try to bookend it, starting
Okay.
at about noon, ending at about 5 or 5:30 that evening?
I didn't look, but I'll take your word for it.
First one or two?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is a
February
cross.
1st,
It's
yeah.
a cross. It's a cross.
Taking a look at that first text, who is that from and who is it to?
It's from Brian Albert, and it's to myself, my sister Nicole, and Matt. McCabe, my husband.
What does that text say?
Julie said Channel 4 is in D&E.
Explain what that text means.
So Brian Albert is telling us that Julie told him Channel 4 is in D&E.
Who's Julie?
I'm sorry, Julie Albert.
Thank you. Let's go to the next text. What is D&E?
D&E is a sub shop that is owned by Chris Albert.
Is that in Canton?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's in Canton.
On the main street of Canton?
Yes.
Directly next door to what?
Waterfall.
Across the street from Waterfall.
Oh, sorry. C.F. McCarthy's, yeah.
Thank you. Across the street from Waterfall, directly adjoining, they have an adjoining wall to C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
Yes.
Can you read what this text says, who it's from and who it's to?
This is from Matt McCabe to myself, my sister Nicole, and Brian. Eating, I assume. Ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went into the house.
What does tell them the guy never went into the house mean to you? How did you take that?
I took that as John never came in the house.
Who's the guy?
John.
John O'Keefe.
Yes.
And the beginning of that sentence is tell them that the guy never came in the house, correct?
Yes.
And the sentence before that is ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yes.
So this is Matt McCabe directing that Chris ask questions of Channel 4, correct?
I wouldn't say directing.
Whatever word you want to use. He was
No, I'm saying that Matt.
suggesting.
I think we're all looking to find out what happened, so Matt was like, ask some questions. What do they know?
Yeah,
And
right.
also indicating that Chris should tell them the guy never came in the house, correct?
John never came in the house, correct?
Okay. Next text, please.
This text is from Brian.
And this is in response to the text above that you just read, correct?
Yes.
Where Matt McCabe said, tell Chris to find out, get an update or something, and tell them that the guy never came in the house.
Yes.
This is in response to that text.
Yes.
And what does Brian Albert respond?
Exactly.
One word, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please. This is a green box, so I presume this is you.
Yes, it is.
And this is to whom? And what does your text read?
It means, oh my God.
It's O-N-G, but
Yeah.
it meant to be O-M-G, correct?
Yes, yeah, I do a lot of errors.
Which stands for, oh my God.
Yes.
Next text, please.
So this is from my sister Nicole to myself, to Brian, and to Matt.
And what does that text read?
It says, I assume it's just to eat, but Brian, if she is there, ask her what the deal is.
Next text, please. And she mentions a she, a pronoun she.
Yes.
Is that referring to Julie Albert?
To be honest, I don't know who she's referring to.
Well, remember the first text started, or did the first text start with someone reporting that Julie said Channel 4 was in D&E?
Yes, it did.
So would that prior text mean get Julie Albert to get some updates on what's going on? If she's there, does that mean if Julie is at D&E, hence she just reported that Channel 4 is there?
I'm truly not sure if who she's referring to as the she.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the next text, please.
This text is from myself. This says to ask if we heard if she is in a mental hospital.
Next text, please.
This is from me. Kerry is here going over timeline.
Who's the Kerry referring to?
Kerry Roberts.
What is here?
I would assume here would mean my house.
Next text, please.
This is from Brian. I did hear that.
Next text, please. Who is this text from and who is it to?
This text is from me to my sister Nicole, to Brian, to Matt. And we handed the phone to Kerry.
Who's Kerry?
Kerry Roberts.
What phone are you referring to?
Mine.
Who was on the other end of that phone?
On February 1st, I believe it could have been Michael Proctor.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from me. She is telling him everything.
Everything is in all caps with an exclamation point, correct?
Yes, it is.
Who's the him that you're referring to in
Proctor.
this text?
I believe it was Michael Proctor.
Next text, please.
This is from me, all the stuff.
Next text, please.
This is from Matt to myself, Nicole, and Brian. Yep, if she pleads out, it will end. If she fights it, it will be an episode.
Oh! Sheezy! If she pleads out, that's the end of it. But if she goes to trial, it's gonna be trouble. I want to hear that again. Oh my God, the smoking gun.
Text, please.
This is from Matt to myself, Nicole, and Brian. Yep, if she pleads out, it will end. If she fights it, it will be an episode.
Who's she?
I'm assuming that would be Miss Reed.
Next text, please.
This is from Nicole to me, to Matt, and to Brian. She liked the text above.
The previous text?
Yes.
Meaning like a thumbs up or a like?
Yeah, it just says liked. So
The one that reads, yeah, if she pleads, it will end. If she fights, it will be an episode.
Yes.
Next text, please.
I love how she's trying so hard to maintain. She's just like, yeah, this means nothing. This is not a smoking gun. It's just text, innocent texts between non-conspirators. Dum, 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 dum.
From Matt. Oh, sorry. To me, to Nicole, and to Brian.
And what does this read?
Brian, sitting separate.
Is that a period or a comma? I honestly can't see. Is that a period or a comma between Brian and sitting? Or can you tell?
I can't tell if it is or it's just like the way it printed out. I'm not sure.
Next text, please.
Brian, to me, Nicole, and Matt. Okay.
And the next text.
This is me, Matt, me, Nicole, Matt, and Brian.
And what did you say? What did you write in this text?
I wrote you listening.
And what's the timestamp on this?
That is 5:15.
And in fact, at 5:15, Ms. Roberts was in your house being personally interviewed by Massachusetts State Police, correct?
They were there. I'm not sure if this is the exact time, but yes, they did come over.
Just to be clear and to orient us, there was a phone conversation that you were privy to between Kerry Roberts and Michael Proctor telephonically, correct?
She was
Earlier in the day.
Yeah, earlier in the day he had called me and then Kerry had asked to speak with him.
And that's the handing of the phone.
Yes.
Then later, a couple of hours later, 5-ish or so, she was still at your house. Michael Proctor came over and interviewed her at your home.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Massachusetts State Police.
Came
Yeah,
over and
yeah.
spoke to myself, her, and Matt.
Yeah.
And you wrote you listening to the group, correct?
Yes.
Who was that specifically directed to?
I honestly don't know.
Oh, wait a second. I just realized something that I may have missed. I think I missed this in the first trial. You listening. Did she have an open line? Like, as Kerry Roberts is being interviewed, she kind of took her phone, dialed, like one of them, and then just kind of left the phone there and just walked away so that they could mute themselves and on their end be like listening to the Michael Proctor and Kerry Roberts interview. Oh, dear God. That's what probably happened. I would bet money.
Anybody else in the house during her interview other than you and the troopers?
My husband, Matt, my daughter, her friend, my other daughter.
Of the people on this text chain, the only person that would have been in the house that could have conceivably, quote unquote, listened would be Matt. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next text, please.
It's from me to Matt, Nicole, and Brian.
And what does it read?
Cops here again.
You were reporting to the others on this text stream that the police had arrived at your house. They were in your house with you and Kerry that you just described, correct?
Yes, I was just telling them that they were here again.
I was just telling them they were here again. I was not reporting. Why would you use such a word? That is an offensive word. I was reporting. You make me sound like I'm the mastermind of this. Oh, wait, that's right. I am.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who is it to?
This is from my sister. Nicole. And Nicole says, call us after.
And what time was this?
5:23.
Did you take this to mean that she wanted you to call the group after Kerry Roberts' interview and update them about that interview?
I took it as that she just wanted, to call and see what the cops said and if there was any update, any information.
Next text, please.
This is from Matt, and it's to myself, Nicole, and Brian. This girl could write a book nonstop.
Was that in reference to Kerry Roberts having her interview with the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes, it was.
And by the way, I know there are several smoking guns here, and you're like, Larry, why are you not reacting to this? This is all a repeat from the first trial, so I'm not surprised. I'm genuinely like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I remember this too. I remember that. So like, in case you're wondering, like, why is Larry off key here for whatever reason? I'm not. I am actually definitely in key because this all happened in the first trial, so none of these texts that are absolutely smoking guns, like this woman is just writing a book about this, is it all came before. This is all from the previous trial. And if you haven't, I have so many playlists. You guys have to go check them out. I have Brian Higgins. I have coming up Trooper Paul. I have Brian Albert coming up. I have disgraced former Massachusetts State Police Trooper Proctor. I have Trooper Buchanan. I have Allie McCabe. I have Matthew McCabe. I have the first Jennifer McCabe, and I have Guarino from last year. They're all playlists. They're all playlists on my channel. Go check them out. Oh my God, folks! I have content about this trial for days. So don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll be notified when new videos will be coming out, because you definitely don't want to miss them. I mean, this is the most insane trial I've ever seen in my life. Let's keep watching.
Girl is Kerry, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, Brian, and Matt.
What time is this text?
5:32.
And what do you write to the group?
I love it.
And this is in direct response to Matt McCabe's, your husband's text about Kerry Roberts could write a book, correct?
Yes.
Suggesting that both you and Mr. McCabe were listening to her interview, correct?
The mouthpiece.
We could hear different parts of it, correct?
Next text, please. And who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
And what did you write?
I wrote, she is telling them everything.
Similar to the text that we earlier saw that was in all caps when you indicated she's telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
On the phone. That was in reference to what she was saying on the phone.
Yes.
This is in reference to the live interview, correct?
Yes.
Also indicating that you were listening to and were privy to the content of her conversation with the police.
I could hear bits and pieces of it, yes.
Enough to say that she's telling them everything.
When I used the word everything, I meant it not only was she telling them what had happened, but she was also telling them opinions and different things.
Okay, so you could hear it that much.
I could hear her saying some opinions.
Okay, next text, please.
This is from my sister Nicole.
And that's dangerous because my mouthpiece needs to be controlled. She, Kerry Roberts, has no right to tell the police things that I did not tell her to tell them. And I was very angry with Kerry Roberts afterwards when I learned that she has been telling them things that I told her not to say. That's the part that she's not admitting to, which absolutely happened.
To myself, to Matt, to Brian.
Bet
This
money.
is in response to she is telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
And the text reads what?
Good.
Next text, please.
This is from Matt to myself, to Nicole, and to Brian. He says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
You mean Matt says.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Matt.
oh, yeah. The police investigation is going to make me miss the basketball game. Yeah, guy's dead. Yeah, guy's dead. Guy's schmed. Who cares? I need to go to the basketball game. Can the police wrap it up, please? We know who the killers are. It's us. Who cares? Let's just I gotta go to the basketball game. More important stuff are happening. Dead Boston cops, schmops. Basketball game. Gotta go. And she's smiling through all of this. Like, oh, I gotta go to the basketball game. All of these people are gonna need an attorney by the time this is over. I just want to say this. Every single one of them is gonna need an attorney. And you know who else is an attorney? I am. And if you've been injured, 1-844-774-HURT. Call us anytime, 24/7. We have an answering service. Happy to hear what physical injuries you have sustained so that we can get you money in your pocket. Anyway, back to the video.
Matt says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
Indicating that he was still in the house and still privy to the conversation between Kerry Roberts and the Massachusetts State Police.
He was waiting for them to talk, but Kerry kept as he said, she could write a book, so he felt he was going to miss the game because she just kept talking.
Next text, please. That may be the end of it.
Yeah, it is.
Is that the last text on the page?
Yes, it is.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Ms. McCabe,
Yes.
these text messages were on a private chat, both the one between you and your sister, as well as the group chat, correct? Those are private chats, not open to the public.
Correct.
You never intended, obviously, for any of those texts to become public, correct?
I handed my phone over, so I
That's
knew
not the
all my
question.
texts would be seen.
When you were writing the text, when the group was chatting back and forth or texting back and forth, those were intended to be private texts between and among just the people on the text string, correct?
I just was texting my family. I wasn't thinking any more of who was going to see it.
You certainly did not expect when you were writing those texts that the defense, Ms. Karen Reed's representatives, would ever get a hold of those texts. That was not in your mind, correct?
Would never have been in my mind, no.
That
Yeah.
is a textbook example, what we've just seen, of witnesses colluding with one another about a subject matter that's under investigation, correct?
Oh my God. Oh my God. He went for it. Jackson, I love you. Marry me. Sorry, Chandler. He did not do this in the first trial. Jackson has gotten bold. This is a brand new Jackson, folks. He's like, I don't. Next text. You never expected anybody to see this, did you? You never thought the world is going to see this, did you? You didn't expect the defense is going to see this, did you? We have evidence that you two colluded and you four colluded. Objection? Oh my God. I'm about to cry, folks. Tears of happiness. Jackson is not pulling any punches this time. He just went for the knockout. Very rarely do defense attorneys do this. Everybody knows it's a very, very, very dangerous thing to do, to basically give the witnesses an out, because you're building. The jury already believes collusion. You don't even need to say it. But Jackson just went for it. He just said it. He just came out and said it. Oh my God. I'm sorry, folks. I can't calm down. I am in awe. I am in shock and horror in the best of ways. Don't get me wrong. Wow. I am melting. I am literally, as I sit before you, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling in my body right now. I am melting into a puddle, formerly known as Attorney Larry Forman. That is one of the sexiest things I have ever heard in my entire life. This right here, that statement right there, is sexier than Spicy Draco's TMZ guy. Well, I could say the same thing about having Amber Heard as a client for you, Ms. Bredehoft. This is evidence of collusion, isn't it, Ms. McCabe? Objection? Grounds? I have none. It really hurts my case. The liar objection. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I need to calm down. Okay. Woosa, Larry. Woosa. We're going to go back. We're going to watch it again, and then I want to see what happens.
Those texts that the defense, Ms. Karen Reed's representatives would ever get a hold of those texts. That was not in your mind, correct?
Would never have been in my mind, no.
That is a textbook example, what we've just seen, of witnesses colluding with one another about a subject matter that's under investigation, correct?
And move for an instruction.
All right, jurors, disregard that comment.
Well, that's not a comment. That's a question. That's a question, Bev. And the answer is yes, that is evidence. Look, her face just melted off. McCabe, Jennifer, you can hide all you want. We can see the truth right through you. She didn't even flinch. She was like, and? Evidence of collusion? And? Someone in her position being accused like that would be, if false, they would be up in arms. What are you talking about? That is not collusion. Are you crazy? She's like, I need help here. I need some protection. Come on, Brennan, speak up. Come on, Bev. We're all in this together, remember? All working together now. Wow. He just went for the throat punch and he got it. She all but admitted it just with her actions and her face. The jury saw it. And Jackson knows that the jury believes it. And Bev coming to her rescue is not even going to put a dent in this. If anything, the jurors are now, from this moment forward, thinking Jen, Bren, and Bev are all in this together. And Jackson is the only one speaking truth in this courtroom. Because there was no comment. Bev is lying to the jury. That was a direct question. The question was, this is evidence of witnesses colluding their testimony, correct? And she's like, no side comments. You are to disregard any side comments that Jackson is doing, because those are side comments that we don't like, and it hurts our case and our cause. So please disregard the bad questions that we don't like and we don't want being answered in my courtroom. Thank you. This is the sexiest exchange I have ever seen in my entire life in a courtroom. To just go for the throat punch, risking the possibility that the witness is going to go, no, of course not, and excuse and eviscerate and unravel everything. But because Brennan came to her rescue, he actually cemented Jackson's question into concrete. Think about it. If Jennifer McCabe had a chance to answer that in that moment, she would say, no, of course it's not collusion. You don't think it's collusion? No, of course not. This is just people talking. And maybe the jury would believe her or not believe her. Doesn't matter. But now he asked, this is collusion, isn't it? Objection. Now judge is instructing. The jurors are sitting there confused like, that was a question. That wasn't a statement. She, by virtue of their own collusion in the courtroom, the interior collusion, so this is the exterior collusion we're talking about between Kerry Roberts, Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, etc., Brian Higgins. That's the exterior collusion. That happened 3.5 years ago. Now the interior collusion between Bren, Jen, and Bev, those three, their collusion, now the jury is going to be aware of it. And if I was Jackson, I would keep highlighting this collusion, because the more dots they can plot on the graph, the more the prosecution is going to get destroyed. And they will get the trifecta, the not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, when this case is over, in my humble opinion. And then the feds are going to come in, scoop everybody up, and people are going to start getting locked up, starting with the McAlberts, the pinnacle of the Canton Mafia. Fascinating. Fascinating. This is one of those rare occasions where asking the question you don't ask, you actually ask. Good on you, Jackson. God.
Disregard that question.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
In the text that we just saw, you were colluding with other witnesses, percipient witnesses, in this case through those text messages, were you not?
I was not.
You were organizing your statements to the police based on what you overheard and what you heard during Kerry Roberts' interview with the Massachusetts State Police, weren't you?
No, I was not.
You were reporting back to other percipient witnesses.
What is this cameraman doing? Dude, this is the biggest questions that have ever been asked in a criminal trial in the history of the United States. And you are focusing on Karen and Jackson? Show us Jennifer. I want to see Jen's face.
This is what you heard and saw during other witnesses' statements to the police, to wit, Kerry Roberts, correct?
I was telling them Kerry was speaking with the police.
And you told them she's telling them, quote, everything, correct?
Yes, I told them some of the opinions that she stated.
And when Mr. McCabe said she could write a book, she's going on, in other words, she's going on and on, your statement was, I love it, correct?
Yes.
And you reported that back to other witnesses who were not privy to Ms. Roberts' statements to the police, correct?
To my sister and to my brother-in-law, yes.
And then your sister asked for updates.
And that's not collusion?
When Kerry Roberts was done, correct?
I don't know if it was in regard to updates when she was done, or updates like, did they tell us anything? Is there anything new? We were still all trying to figure out what had happened.
The four of you were discussing the facts surrounding this case, not only with each other, but discussing interviews, formal police interviews that you heard or overheard with another witness, weren't you?
I told them some of the things that Kerry Roberts said, yes.
And you were happy about what she said after you had created this timeline with her, correct?
The timeline had nothing to do with it.
Oh, of course not.
But it was certainly chronologically. Her interview with the police was after this timeline had already been created between you and Kerry Roberts.
Yes, we both put down what had happened so we would remember.
And then
So we would lie better.
you were responding to the rest of the group. She's telling them everything, meaning everything we just crafted in this timeline, right?
No, I meant she was telling them everything. She was telling her personal opinions about Miss Reed.
Oh my God.
Brian Albert and his family had a dog on January 29th, 2022, did they not?
Yes, they did.
What was that dog's name?
Chloe,
What kind of dog was Chloe?
German Shepherd.
Was it do you know if it was a purebred German Shepherd or a mix of Malinois and German Shepherd, or do you know?
I have no idea.
Big dog,
Yeah, good sized dog. Yeah.
70-pounder.
I don't know its weight.
Wasn't a little munchkin dog, though. It was
No.
a full-size German
It's
Shepherd.
a full size, yeah.
On the morning that you described going into the house, January 29th, 6:40 a.m. or so,
Oh, whoa.
You indicated that-
Did you see that trembling? She even missed her mouth for a second because she knows the dog is a really bad fact. Because when there's all that commotion outside, all of that EMTs and fire trucks and police and everybody, firefighters. A dog is not going to be like, me, 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 me. You know, the dog is going to be like, what's going on? What is happening? Bark, 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 bark. Hey, owner, bark, bark. You need to pay attention to this. Bark, bark. There are intruders. There are intruders on our territory. Wake up. And Brian Albert's like, oh, shut up, dog. Like, seriously? Seriously. Dogs are territorial pack animals. Wolves, they are former wolves before they were domesticated. The wolves travel in packs. Dogs would travel in packs. Their ancestors travel together. They protect one another. They alert to danger so that the rest of the pack is aware. Owner of the house, you know, Brian Albert, is the pack leader. Chloe is a soldier, if you will. She's a foot soldier as well in the Albert unit. Chloe Albert is a foot soldier. Her failure to alert the pack could mean danger for the pack. Like, let's say they truly were intruders. Chloe doesn't know the difference between they're investigating something over there. They're on our property. Take care of it. Help. Help. If she doesn't yell for help and then the pack gets killed because Chloe failed to alert, I mean, come on. It's 2 + 2 = 4.
That you burst into the bedroom to wake your sister and Brian Albert. Is that right?
Yes, I went into the bedroom.
It's still dark out, correct?
Yes.
There had been relative chaos on the lawn for a number of minutes, from about 6:10 until at least 6:40. When we went in, there were still emergency vehicles with lights on and engines running, and chaos, relative chaos, bedlam, as somebody has said, on that front lawn, correct?
Was more on their side lawn and down the street, kind of like all the cruises. A lot of them were behind their lot.
Right in front of 34 Fairview, correct?
To the side, in the side yard of 34 Fairview, yes.
And on the lawn of 34 Fairview,
Yes,
where first responders were responding, correct?
yes,
And you said my client is screaming to the top of her lungs, is that right?
yes, she was.
And Kerry Roberts screaming back at her,
Yes,
shut up or shut the f***, right?
yes.
Yeah. Then at 6:40 a.m., under the cover of darkness, you walked in the front door of the unlocked front door of Brian Albert's house, correct?
I went into my sister's house, correct?
It wasn't Brian Albert's house?
And Brian Albert, yes, I'm sorry.
You then climbed the stairs up toward the bedrooms, correct?
Yes,
You walked into the bedroom door where Brian Albert and Nicole Albert, according to you, were sleeping. Is that right?
yes,
So you would agree that you unexpectedly, in terms of their view, unexpectedly walked into their house basically in the middle of the night, middle of the morning.
yes,
You indicated that when you went through their bedroom door, you sort of burst through, correct?
I opened the door. I don't know if I used the word burst.
You previously indicated that when you went through the door,
You did say
it was
burst.
chaotic because you were so amped up from the events.
Frantic.
Is that right?
I don't know if I used those words.
Oh, really? Impeach her, Jackson, if you want to.
Would you say that you were loud or quiet?
I think as I explained earlier, I was like where everything was going on around me, and I was kind of...
Notice how she can't even answer a question. I was fairly loud, sure. No, I gotta go to my narrative. What's my narrative? Let me tell my story, not Jackson's story. Jackson, this is my turn. And again, don't think for a second that the jury is not picking up on this. Because if you're asking questions and I'm asking questions, the jury is also in their heads asking questions. Why can't this woman just give a simple one straight answer? Why is everything, well, actually, and then, okay, so, and then basically you were loud. Yes, I was. You know, she has to weave in her story because she knows if she doesn't do that, if she doesn't fill in the gaps of her false narrative to the jury, nobody will believe her. Now, they still don't believe her, but at least she's trying to, like, set a nice cover to her story and to cover up the truth. That's what manipulators and narcissists do, and that's exactly what she's doing.
Like, in just a state of shock, and I remember thinking, I don't want to startle them, but I have to wake them up, because obviously when I wake them up, they're gonna be panicked and think something terrible happened.
Well, why didn't you want to startle them? Something terrible had happened.
I didn't want to give them a heart attack when I woke them up.
But you didn't walk up and just nudge them and say, hey, Nicole, honey, can you wake up or something? You didn't do that.
No, I was like, Brian, Nicole, wake up, wake up.
Okay, exactly. But you weren't saying it in that voice either. You were saying, Brian, Nicole, get up.
I'm not sure if it was that loud, but I definitely was. You definitely like trying to wake them up. Yes.
Oh my God. She forgot the narrative. She forgot her own story that she weaved. Like, wait a minute. How does this one go? She can't remember. Or she does remember, but her story, because she knows we're talking about the dog, I have to kind of curtail my answers, because if I'm too loud, well, Chloe's going to bite my arm off. Kind of like she did with John O'Keefe. Hello. It's so obvious. Like, it's almost depressing, but it's not. This woman, I deserves no sympathy. She's a criminal mastermind, and I feel nothing for her. Nothing. She is guilty, and she deserves to be imprisoned for it. That's it.
What was the dog's reaction?
I don't recall seeing the dog.
So,
What?
according to you, to the dog at least, if we can get in the mind of a dog, a relative stranger walks in the front door, climbs a set of stairs, the house is completely dark, walks into a bedroom door,
Watch, Hank is going to judge.
starts barking. The person starts barking, get up, wake up, Brian, Nicole. And you don't remember seeing or hearing a dog at all.
Objection.
Called it.
Sustained.
Doesn't matter, though. The jury heard it. That's all Jackson wanted. I knew exactly what he was doing. Look at her face. She looks so defeated. Oh my God, it's beautiful, because she knows the jury heard it. And she can't even look at him. She can't even look at the jury in the eyes, because she knows that she is guilty. She knows that she did this. She knows that none of this ever happened. Oh my God. Oh my God. The dog. Who would have thought, of all her narrative, the weaving of the story, the dog was going to be the weakest link? Basic instinct, pun intended. Simple basic instincts of an animal. How an animal normally reacts. They just forgot to factor into their calculus of their narrative. Why? Because who thinks of the dog's reaction when they're weaving their timeline and making sure that all the I's are crossed and T's dotted? You know what I'm saying? The weakest link was Chloe. May she rest in peace. She was rehomed. She was rehomed up to heaven. That's where she was rehomed to. Poor Chloe. She does not deserve any of this. She did not deserve to be killed. But they had to, because then her teeth marks on John's arm would be able to be compared to her teeth, and they couldn't afford that. She accidentally turned into a weapon because instinct took over. There was a fight brewing in the Albert's basement, and she supported the Klan, as a German Shepherd does. She was defending, Higgins and Albert, Colin and Brian and Higgins. They're probably the ones who directly were involved in the physical altercation. I'm still 100% convinced of that. Higgins had a motive. If you didn't see the latest video that came out a few months ago, where Higgins is very aggressive at the waterfall right before they leave towards probably John O'Keefe, he's like gesturing kind of like very aggressively, and Colin has to grab him by the arm. Shout out in the comments below. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe while you do that. As you scroll through to type your comments, remember, let me know if you remember the video where he was grabbed by the arm by Colin Albert, saying, hey, like, calm down, man, calm down, it's okay. And then Brian Albert and Brian Higgins are like this. So Higgins gets into a fight. Brian Albert is going to jump in. And Colin, that little snot, of course, he's going to jump in too, because he can't fight solo, but he's got the troops. He's got El Capitan. And Chloe just jumps in because basic instinct. Chloe didn't deserve this. Poor Chloe. If they truly rehomed her, as they claim, somebody would have come forward and say, wait a minute, I think we have Chloe. Where was she rehomed then? Who has her? I think big guy upstairs has her. Anyway, let's keep watching.
As you indicated, it's not that the dog wasn't reactive, it's that you don't remember the dog even being there, correct?
I have no memory of the dog, no.
But you do know that that dog sleeps in Brian and Nicole's room,
Oh.
correct?
It may, I don't know for sure.
Oh. She's looking at Hank. Help
reason you don't remember the dog being there is because the dog wasn't there, was it?
I don't remember the dog.
Right. So when you walked out of the room, when you walked in the house, didn't see the dog?
No,
When you walked up the stairs, no dog?
no,
Walked down the hallway, no dog?
no,
Walked into Brian and Nicole's bedroom door, no dog?
I don't remember seeing the dog.
I realize that. Dog or no dog? No dog.
I don't remember seeing the dog. Doesn't mean it wasn't there or it was
What?
there. I just don't remember.
Wait, whoa, whoa,
seeing
whoa,
it.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Pause. You burst into a room screaming, Nicole, Nicole, Albert, Brian, Nicole, wake up. And the dog is like, me. Huh? Uh-huh. Me. Like, you're joking, right? The weakest link, like I said. The dog is the weakest link in your chain. Exposed. Get her, Jackson.
No dog came up to you and barked at you, correct?
No,
You didn't see or hear a dog whining or howling, did you?
no,
You didn't hear or see a dog scratching at the door?
no.
There's no sign of a dog at all in Brian and Nicole Albert's house at 6:41 a.m. when you walked into that house, correct? Or 6:40?
I don't remember seeing the dog.
And this was a 70-pound German Shepherd, correct?
I don't know
Help
the
me,
weight
Hank.
of the
Have you ever
dog.
heard
Hank, help me.
Have you ever heard a description given about that dog by Brian Albert, anybody else? That dog was not good with strangers.
Well,
Did you know, as you, that you
Jury heard it.
Very, very dear friends, and obviously dear friends with Brian Albert, relations with Nicole Albert, your sister. Are you aware that that dog was not good with strangers?
Object.
I don't. It wasn't good with other dogs is what I knew, so I could never bring my dog over there. That's all I know about the dog.
that's all I know. Stop asking me questions. That's all I know about the dog. Leave me alone. I got nothing. This was not part of my narrative. Please, dear God, help me. That's literally what her face is screaming right now. And it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. You deserve everything coming your way.
Had some aggression, correct? At least with other dogs.
Possibly. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was so much better than the first trial. By the way, Jackson is busy doing this trial. If you need a trial lawyer, if you've been in a car accident or a truck accident or a dog bite, holla at your boy, 1-844-774-HURT, 1-844-774-HURT. We are here. Trial lawyers are standing by to get you the most money possible under the law, within the confines of the law, to extract it out of the insurance company. That's what we do. Doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in the United States. But anyway, back to the video. Gosh, Chloe, who would have thought that it was gonna be Chloe who is the weakest link, that Chloe is gonna bring down a criminal enterprise simply because they forgot to factor her into their calculus. I mean, they could have tried something like, well, Chloe was in the basement. She usually gets locked up in the basement. If they remembered her, they forgot. They forgot when they weaved their narrative. They included all the human subjects. They forgot the animal companions. They forgot the animal. I'm not even Christian, but Chloe, we're with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing, just amazing to me that if their whole empire collapses because of the family dog, I'm gonna have a field day. I'm literally going to just celebrate because they, like I said, they deserve everything coming their way. And I hope the feds are watching.
You're aware that the Alberts, Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, had a dog that they named Chloe on on January 28th, 29th of 2022, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow the question. Were you aware of that?
At what point in time, sir?
January 28th, 29th, that area.
Was I aware that they owned a dog on January 28th or 29th?
No. Are you aware now that on January 28th or 29th, they owned a dog? There was a dog in the house.
Now I am aware, yes.
Okay. During the course of your investigation, you learned that, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your investigation, did you also become aware that the Alberts got rid of their family dog?
Objection.
I'm going to see you at sidebar on this, please.
Sure. I think I forgot where I left off. May I, Your Honor? Yes. Thank you.
The dog
Sergeant,
Jackson.
At some point during the course of your investigation, did you learn that the Albert family had gotten rid of the dog named Chloe?
We learned that they no longer cared for the dog. I don't know if get rid of is accurate.
Well, they don't have it.
They no longer cared for the dog. See, choice of words is everything, because that's where the subconscious reveals itself, typically, when a person is lying like this. And since we all know he's lying, it makes the job easy. You don't have to decipher, like, is this one the lie? Like, they no longer cared for the dog. It's very revealing, because we all know that the Alberts needed to get rid of the dog because they were afraid that the dog's teeth might be checked against John's arm. And since, if you watch the last video, you know that I came to the conclusion that there's a reason Chloe was not good with strangers. And again, let me know in the comments below as you subscribe when you roll past it. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with this theory. I'm curious what the people have to say about this. That Chloe was not good with strangers because, very simply, Brian Albert was training her to be his like personal attack dog, like a weapon. He was training Chloe as a weapon. That's why she was not good. Like dogs, even German Shepherds. I've met German Shepherds. They are amazing animals, and they are very friendly if you train them right, if you teach them right, if you treat them right. And Mechanic saying they didn't care for the dog at some point is very revealing, because they're like, yeah, we don't care about Chloe. We need to get rid of her. It's a little revealing. I may be stretching it out here, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I know my limits as well. But it just feels like he knows. Obviously, he knows. And it wasn't like a Freudian slip or anything, but it definitely is a little telling about the Albert's state of mind at the time they got rid of Chloe. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, because I may just be like too much of a stretch here.
What would you call it?
Giving it up for adoption, I guess? I don't know. I'm not a pet owner.
Yeah, I'm not a pet owner. That tells me everything I need to know about Buchanan. I know a lot of people don't have pets, but some people just won't be able to have pets. And the fact that Buchanan doesn't have a pet is also very telling. And I get it. Like, if you don't have a pet, don't feel bad. I'm not going to be like, you are a sociopath if you don't. Like, no, I'm not one of those people. But, like, just the fact that he certainly doesn't. I don't think any of these people have pets, honestly. And not a single person who testifies, I don't think, has a pet. I would bet money that only like 5% of the prosecution's witnesses are pet owners. Who wants to take that bet? I'll put $5. I'll put $5. Would you take that bet? Let me know in the comments below.
I'm sorry?
What if they didn't give it up for adoption?
Rehomed, I guess.
Okay. So it's no longer with him, right?
Correct. They no longer own the dog.
Okay, so they got rid of it. It's like you get rid of a car, right?
He doesn't want to admit it.
Right?
You can get rid of a car, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And you can get rid of a dog. That's all I'm asking.
Yes, you can get rid of a dog, yes.
Okay.
There you go. Good
At some
boy.
point during the course of your investigation, did you find out that the Albert family got rid of Chloe?
We learned that they no longer owned Chloe, yes.
Okay. When did you learn that?
Timeline. I wish you could probably like sit there and look. Where's Jennifer? Line. Jen. Where's the timeline? Line. What am I supposed to say here? Like in a movie. Oh, I amuse myself.
I cannot tell you exactly. I can tell you when we looked into it officially.
When did you look into it officially?
I traveled to the dog's home and assisted with identifying the dog and investigating that animal.
Okay.
When?
What documentation did you use to identify?
Didn't he literally just say, I can tell you when, and then he never did? Unless I missed it. I'm sorry. This is...
that?
I just can't. I want to get through this.
It was veterinary records.
I want to stop you there. Veterinary records from whom? From the Albert family? When they ended?
I did not get any veterinary records from the Albert family.
The veterinary records that you did get were veterinary records that had been utilized with the Albert name? Where were these veterinary records?
The veterinary records were with the vet that's caring for the dog and also owns the dog now.
Okay.
Wait, whoa. This is new information. The vet owns the dog now? Is the vet going to testify? Yeah, Chloe is mine. Here, would you like me to bring Chloe into court? I'll bring her to court. She's not good with strangers still, or maybe she is now that I've treated her properly. I don't know. I'm curious.
Also had been dated prior to when the dog was owned by the Alberts.
Okay. So, other than some veterinary records that, and by the way, the dog's not even named Chloe, correct?
The new owners renamed the dog, yes.
Cora?
That's correct. Yes.
And the new owners did not get that dog from Brian and Nicole Albert, did they?
No, they did not.
They got it from a separate person. Is that right?
That is correct.
Separate person named Riley?
That's her last name, yes.
What?
And did this person Riley have any records showing purchase of Chloe or adoption of Chloe from the Alberts?
No.
It's a different dog. It's a different dog. It's a different dog. There's no paper trail. There's no chain of custody of the weapon. I'm sorry, the dog that Brian owned. And they named her something very similar to Chloe, Clora, to make it seem like, oh yeah, that's Chloe 2.0. Well, it literally is Chloe 2.0. It's a brand new dog. It's a brand new dog. I'm convinced. Different dog.
You did write a report about the newest owner of this animal, this dog, correct?
I documented my trip to the location and the
This is all new.
steps I took and services I provided in the investigation.
None of
In
this.
that,
None of this happened in the first trial. And by the way, if you don't believe me, I did Buchanan's testimony piece by piece from the first trial. There's an entire playlist. By the way, if you guys don't know about the playlists, oh my God, I'm about to blow your mind. Listen to this. I have Brian Higgins, Yuri Buchanan, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Allie McCabe, Trooper Paul, Guarino, and several others. And each one has their own playlist. Higgins is like 11 episodes. Oh, and of course, Trooper Proctor, back when he was still on the force. That was like one of the first ones I've done. Almost, how could I forget about Pooper Proctor? Buchanan, I broke down, I think, also about 9 or 11 episodes. There is now, go ahead, watch it. You will not find a single instance where they talk about Chloe. Not one instance where they talk about Chloe being bought or taken or whatever by Riley, and then Riley giving it to some vet. This is their cover story. They realize the dog is the weakest link. Now, Jennifer McCabe still screwed up because she doesn't understand how dog psyche works. So when she came over to, or whatever, however she does her screaming voice that she did in the first trial. Thank God she didn't do it this trial. That was horrific. I had nightmares for weeks after that. And so Buchanan, this is brand new stuff in trial number 2. This has not been talked about ever, to my knowledge, in the first trial. This is their cover story, the Alberts cover story for, well, what happened to Chloe? Oh, this is what happened to Chloe. Wow.
in that report, you omitted the name of the new owner?
I'm not sure.
Did you omit the location of where you actually came in contact with this animal?
You're going to have to show me my report. I don't remember.
You're going to have to show me my report. More evasiveness. Just this guy can't stop. He can't be straight for a second. It's disgusting.
Did this, reviewing your report, refresh your recollection as to whether or not the new owners identifying information is in this report?
It did.
And is
He
that
looks very
information in the
unhappy.
report?
No, it is not.
You've got, there are some veterinary records.
By the
that you
way,
supplied along
here's
with the
another
report,
thing.
correct?
I want to do this real quick. So to the body language expert panel, and I think I already know the answer to this, but I want to hear it from the experts. So since you guys are so good at answering the call, and I love you guys, and thank you for doing that, I'm going to ask you to answer the call once more. Eric Hunley and crew. I forget who was that did the video last time. It was like author Austin something. I do apologize. I'm sorry. It's very early in the morning. I'm recording this at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, May 13th. And my brain is still firing up. So please excuse me for not remembering your name. But you did such a phenomenal job. I'd love either your input or Eric's or whatever about this moment right here. So here's the scene. Buchanan was just given his report. There is stuff in it that he obviously does not like. And he knows that he did not name the new owner in his report. He omitted critical information. Now watch his body language, and I'm going to preface it by saying his arm is going to go up. He's going to say, I did not, and then he's going to put his arm down and he's going to relax. My theory is that, putting up a barrier anytime, it's a psychological thing. Like there's a term for I forget what it's called, for when somebody fires a gun at you and people will hold their hands up because the brain is ancient. It's millions and millions of years old in evolution, and guns are a fairly new invention, only been around for a few hundred years, let's say a couple thousand maximum, not even, maybe 1500. I don't know when this gun invented. I never researched this, but regardless, because the speed at which the bullet travels, for instance, is going to be very new to the brain. The brain still reacts in the same way, to try and stop the bullet from hitting. And it's very common. These injuries are very common when people get fired at, and they know it's coming. Gun experts, let me know in the comments below what the term is. I just can't remember right now. Like I said, it's too early in the morning. But Buchanan uses his arm, and we use our arms as shields, as like a barrier to try and separate us from something we don't like. And he's separating himself artificially from the jury using his arm. We use podiums, we use other objects to kind of distance ourselves when we feel uncomfortable as speakers. He can't do that. He can't move the podium because he's sitting in a witness chair. The only thing he can do is put up a barrier. And watch this. Watch this barrier.
Owners.
It's beautiful.
Identifying information is in
He
this
scowls. He slumps.
It did.
And is that information in the report?
No, it is not.
He puts up a barrier. No, it is not. And he puts the barrier down because he's not comfortable telling the jury that the owner's name is not in the report. Anyway, I want the behaviorist panel, the body language panel to give me some analysis on that, because this is a common theme, and I'm sure the people will appreciate it.
There are some veterinary records that you supplied along with your report, correct?
Yes.
That you gathered?
I'm sorry, what was
That you
it?
gathered along while you were doing
Yes, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Burgess, you have in front of you your CV that we just spoke about, and I'd ask you please to draw your attention to the education section where underneath in red it says BGS, and then, do I read it correctly? It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama Birmingham, Alabama currently pursuing. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly.
Thank you, sir. May I approach your honor?
Wait. Hold on. Oh, right out of the gate. I mean, you can put that on the resume, currently pursuing. I don't think that's the correct language, to be honest with you. I think there's a better language that you can put on a resume, it's like BS candidate, Bachelor of Science candidate 2026. That's how you usually write it. But if he doesn't have a graduation date, if he's just spreading it across the next decade because he's doing one class a semester, which is possible. Some people have different plans in their life, especially if he's a full-time employee. But this happened in 2022. So he may not even have started the education then. Or maybe he did. I don't know. I guess we're about to find out. You see how many questions pop up when it says currently pursuing? 2 words change the context of the entire thing in the resume. Currently pursuing.
Like this.
Let's see.
Mark is the next for identification only at this point. Oh, excuse me. Can I have that back one? Show Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess, it's been marked. The document is Exhibit UU for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Exhibit 184.
I present it back to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, once you've had a fair opportunity to look at that, I have a question, and that question is simple. Is that your April 2025 CV?
Last month.
Let me see.
Oh, he's nervous.
Yes, it appears to be.
Thank you. And when you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, when you can just pick your head up, sir, to let me know you're ready. I don't want to rush you, but then I have some questions.
Absolutely.
Thank
Go ahead.
you. So, in those 2 exhibits, your 2 CVs in front of you, am I correct that the first one is November 2024 and the second one is April 2025?
Let me see. Yes, that appears to be correct.
In both of those CVs, you indicate that you have not yet earned a bachelor's degree.
That is correct.
And you certainly have not earned a Bachelor of Science degree in any educational field according to those 2 CVs, right?
Correct.
Wait. So he's a high school graduate? And again, nothing against high school graduates, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of very, very, very smart and talented people who hold nothing more than a high school degree. They may even hold an elementary school degree. They never even went to high school. I've met them, and they're brilliant folks. But this guy is presenting himself out as an expert in a field of science and or mathematics, and this is the guy that rewrote his report. Oh my God, it makes so much sense now. It just clicked. He is the one who decided to rewrite his entire report because he doesn't know what he's doing. He changed the timeline. He changed everything. Oh my God, this is the guy they were arguing about. This is the guy that Bev did one of voir dire. Oh, she should have voir dired him. She would have given a gift to the government. Karma, baby. That's karma. Wow. Okay, let's keep going.
And in fact, as you sit here today,
so exciting.
You do not possess any bachelor's degree.
Correct.
And the reason, as you state, is because that bachelor's degree is currently pending. That's the term you use.
So I use currently pursuing.
Currently
pursuing means you're taking classes actively.
Pursuing, yes. So you have a public profile that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
No way.
Yes, I do.
And it's in the form of a biography page?
No way.
Yes, I believe so.
And that biography page has your education listed?
Very possible, yes.
May I hand it to the witness?
Yes.
I've now, Mr. Burgess, given you Exhibit DB for identification.
Okay.
You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And indeed, that is the bio page that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
That is what it appears to be, yes.
Now, I would like you, sir, to turn to page 2 of that document.
Okay.
And I'd like to turn your focus to the bottom of education head. It states, am I correct, sir, BS, Mathematics, and Business Administration. Is that correct?
It does state that, yes.
And there is no qualification that's currently pending. It states BS in Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That's what it states there, yes.
And you do not have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, do you?
No, I do not.
My God.
And if you click on the hyperlink for your CV on that same website, do you know where that hyperlink takes you?
No, I do not.
To any member of the public reading this, including prosecutor, a defense attorney, a judge, or a jury, that represents that you received your Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, does it not?
Objection.
Wait, why? 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 Wait, why? Why is that sustained? That was a valid question. That is a direct question. You lied, sir. Why?
On to your photograph. Are you familiar with Aperture's website that speaks about you and presents you generally?
Vaguely, yes.
Vaguely.
Are you aware that Aperture has two hyperlinks, one that says CV and one says LinkedIn? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am now.
And LinkedIn is a professional network.
Wait, I am now. So, okay. So his defense, Burgess's defense, look how red he's getting. Oh my God. He's getting so red. Well, of course, he's caught red-handed. Is that what they call it that? Should be red-faced. Whatever. Anyway, this guy, he may be able to get away with, okay, Aperture's website posts that I am not responsible for the Aperture's website, even though he's 100% responsible for it. But he's got plausible deniability. Not for LinkedIn, though.
Platform designed for career and business professionals to connect, share content, find jobs, etc. Is that a fair description of LinkedIn?
Yes, it is.
And could we also conclude that it's a professional networking platform, especially for private sector firms like Aperture, that's used to attract clients or potential clients?
Yes, correct.
And potential clients.
So that's deceptive practices. That's deceptive practices. The Commonwealth fell hook, line, and sinker that this guy's uneducated. And they thought he was.
Include,
no way.
For example, the Commonwealth of the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, the Commonwealth is no longer, if you will, an attracted client, but it's an actual client of Aperture and you, correct?
Correct.
And that's the status of the relationship here. Aperture is a client of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in this case, right?
Correct.
So is it fair to say that your CV, especially when it's published on a LinkedIn or published on a website, is something that is published to intend to have, especially if you're in the private sector, have clients view and retain your services? That's a hope and an expectation, correct?
Yes, that is part of it.
Now, when you look at that document, when you click on, if you were to be in your office, and let's see if you're familiar with this, you click on your LinkedIn on Aperture's page, that would ordinarily take you directly to your professional LinkedIn account, correct? Isn't that what the links are there for?
Yes, I would expect so.
Are you notified when someone electronically accesses your LinkedIn account?
Not accesses, no. Are you referring to viewing?
Yes, that's a better verb,
yeah.
viewing. Yes.
Yes.
So you're notified. Were you notified within the last 72 hours that someone from the defense accessed your publicly available or viewed your publicly available LinkedIn account?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that within the last 72 hours that hyperlink on Aperture's official website was disabled?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that now if you try to go on that link, that you can't, that it's disabled?
Oh!
No, I'm not aware of that.
Oh my
Do
God.
you know whether anyone from Aperture directed someone within Aperture to disable your LinkedIn account within the last 72 hours?
No, I'm not.
Have you spoken to anybody at Aperture about your LinkedIn account?
No, I have not.
Mr. Burgess, I presented to you what is marked as Exhibit WW for identification. I'd ask that you take a look at it, take a fair amount of time, and then if you could, sir, pick your head up so I could see that you're ready.
Sure.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, it appears to be a screenshot of my LinkedIn account.
Burgess, I am.
Oh, he's just a tomato.
Exhibit WW for identification. That is that a fair and accurate representation of your personal LinkedIn page? If you could take a moment to take a look at it.
Sure.
Mr. Alessi, we ask you to step back so all the jurors can see the
Yes,
issues.
Your Honor, thank you.
And by the way, Alessi is also violating rule number 1, never turn your back on your audience. But I can't imagine how hyped he is right now, because he just wants to eat this witness alive, and he is succeeding. Compare that to when Brennan tried to eat Dr. Wolf, the ARCA witness, on the stand. Remember how miserably he failed? Just kept raising his voice. The jury obviously was out of the room. It was voir dire. It was voir dire of the witness. So it's a little bit different. But still, Brennan tried so hard to nail Wolf on something, and he just couldn't. Alessi's not even trying. This guy gave it to him on a silver platter, disabled his LinkedIn account, disabled the fact that they already had everything printed. You always print. Once the culpable website is there, it's already printed. You can't change facts. Any lawyer worth their salt preserves evidence before it is changed. And Alessi did that. Oh my God, Bev looks so angry, so unhappy. She's like, my friend, the prosecutor's case is being derailed and do not like this. Is there anything I can do? Nope. I have to sit there and watch. You can tell Bev's face has contempt written all over it. She's not a fair woman. She is not a fair judge. That's why I don't even call her a judge anymore. I made videos, by the way, about the ARCA witnesses, Dr. Wolf, and of course, the corruption of Auntie Bev. I think I called it like the fall of Judge Beverly Cannoni or something like that. If you haven't seen that video, it's actually really good. I know, I made it. Yes, Larry, good for you. Pat yourself on the back. No, I'm serious. It's a really fun video. You learn a lot about her history and who she is and who she was. And this is not like her. She's behaving out of character in this trial. The corruption is all but clear. She has a personal vested interest in the outcome of this case, and it is clear. So anyway, don't forget to like this video, comment below. Let me know what you think about this testimony. It is fire, folks. It is absolute fire.
Yes, it does, with a error on page 2 regarding education.
An error.
We're going to get to that.
Sure.
But this is you recognize this as a fair and accurate depiction of your personal LinkedIn page, with the exception of what you just mentioned, correct?
Correct.
Did you draft that document that's represented as Exhibit WW?
I have drafted that over time, yes.
And
okay.
When was the last time you viewed that document on your LinkedIn page?
I don't typically view the profile page, so it would have been, I could not tell you how long it's been.
Do you have any reason to believe that Exhibit WW is not on your LinkedIn page online as we sit here today?
No, I don't.
I would like to turn your...
Wow. So this guy deceived Brennan and Lally and Morrissey about his education. He said, I hold these degrees. But on his real CV, he is currently pursuing, I don't hold these degrees. That's a lie. That's deception. Caught. Caught.
Attention to your personal, the printout of your personal LinkedIn page, and go right to the second page, bottom, and under education it says University of Alabama at Birmingham. It's got a little UAB acronym there, and it says Bachelor of Science, paren, B period, S period, comma, Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation, 2016-2018. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I do.
That's not correct, is it?
No, it's not.
What?
And you do not hold a BS in a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, do you?
I do not, and that would have been at that time an expected graduation date.
Oh, so you shoulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda graduated 2016 to 2018, but you never finished. So you decided, you know what? I'm just gonna lie to everybody and get away with it because no one's ever gonna catch this. What a dum-dum, bro.
It would be expected, you state.
Correct.
It would be another word for, another word currently pursuing? Is that similar to expecting?
Sure, that could be similar.
But you know how to put currently pursuing down, don't you, sir? Because you did it on the first few CVs, but you don't have it on your LinkedIn page. Am I correct?
Correct. That's probably because obviously that has not been updated in quite some time.
And you said you get notifications when people access.
It is your responsibility as the holder of the CV, the LinkedIn page, to make sure it is current and not outdated. If you are going to put out there that I am expected to graduate 2016 to 2018, and it is now 2025, and you haven't updated that, that's on you. Because you bear the sole responsibility of making sure that your information is current. It's like when you move addresses. Same thing. You have to notify the Department of Transportation, hey, I moved. If you need to notify me about anything, government, this is my new address. That every state has a penalty, 10, 15, sometimes 20 days to update the address, and then you're good. Now, a lot of people forget it, and it's fine. You know, I may have reminded like 7 of you to go, oh, crap, I need to go to the DMV. I just moved, you know. And I've seen people move like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's not a big deal. You know, if you didn't update your address, don't worry about it. But if you don't want to get a ticket for it, you know, make sure it's current. Otherwise, you're going to have to lie to the officer and be like, yes, that is my current address. They can't prove anything. But what are they going to do? Just tell them, like, yeah, sure, that's where I reside, whatever. That will avoid an extra charge. They can't prove that you don't live there. That's so dumb. But anyway, yeah, this is your responsibility, Burgess. Your failure to update. You have deceived the Commonwealth. You lied to Brennan about your credentials, man. It does not get lower than this. I mean, lying on a report, everybody does it. Making facts up on the report, everybody does it. Embellishing facts in your report, everybody does it. Changing the facts in your report, some people do it. But to lie about your foundation... So I was an adjunct professor at the University of Alabama from 2017 to 2019. Mr. Burgess, you never taught as an adjunct professor at the University of Alabama 2017 to 2019, have you? Nope. Just made it up, put it on there, thought it looked good. Meh. Is this guy for real? Is this the real life? Wow.
It's your LinkedIn page, correct?
I get selective notifications when people view my LinkedIn page.
So you know people are looking at your LinkedIn page. You know people are looking at your education. And you have down here 2016 to 2018. So that time period is 7 years old from 2018. Yet you use the 2016 to 2018 on your LinkedIn page.
Oh my God, this guy.
Correct?
Correct. With the caveat that my understanding is people look at your post, not specifically the profile information.
Wait, whoa. That's your excuse? People just look at my photo and they see that's a beautiful man. I want to hire a beautiful man like Shannon Burgess. Nobody looks at the education portion of it, or the jobs that you've done in the past, or the places you've worked. Nah, that's all not important. The important thing is my name and my phone number and my email. That's all they need to know. The jury is probably looking at him right now, and they are hating him. They hate him because he is supposed to be an expert, and he's starting off with a lie. And don't forget, he has already submitted an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours, I think, worth of direct examination with Brennan. This is the cross. So basically, this is what Alessi is doing. Ladies and gentlemen, the last hour and a half of your life, which you will never get back, has been a lie. This man is a deceiver, and I have proof of it, and he's admitting to it. That's it. Hook, line, sinker. The jury hates this guy. He wasted their time. There is nothing more catastrophic for a lawyer, a judge, or a witness in a jury trial, remember this, I'm speaking from experience, than wasting the jurors' times. I'll give you one quick anecdote. I was trying a case in Rockcastle County last year. I want to say it was February or April. It was cold outside. I remember that. And I was trying a case to a jury. It was not a complicated case, but it took about a full day. We were there until 5 o'clock at least, from about 8 until 5. And I remember at the end, I talked to the jury and I said, so they acquitted, we won. And I asked, so what did you guys think, blah, blah, blah. And they said, Larry, you talk too much. And I said, Well, don't rub it in, you know. I know I was trying to like portray, I was trying to sell him in closing and opening. They told me, it was like, Larry, you already won in opening. Like, you had us. We believed you. And then my closing was very long and I kept droning on. And they looked bored, but I you know, you can never assume. You don't know what people are thinking. And I had to do my job. I had to make sure that all the facts get in there. But anyway, the long and short of it is, they just said, just keep it shorter next time. And I listened to them. In my next trial, I kept it even shorter, and we won that one as well. And that jury did not complain about the length. So wasting a jury's time, even though they acquitted, they were still mad that I kept droning on for so much, you know, defending my client, like in closing. And I think there was one more spot where I could have cut it short with like one of the witnesses they said. But I don't know this as I'm doing the trial itself. Burgess and Brennan did not know that, or maybe they did, who knows? It's maybe already too late to pull him out because he's so invested. He needs Burgess. Brennan desperately needs Burgess to change the entire spectrum of the facts of the case. But it's eviscerated. He is a liar. He's a deceiver. He is putting something out to the world about his education that doesn't exist yet. He has been pursuing a degree for like a decade and he still hasn't gotten it. So he's either gave up on it or he's taking like a class a semester, like I said, or a class a year just to, you know, slow play it and slow roll it. And he wasted the jury's time. That's the most important piece. They sat there for an hour and a half and they listened to him and they trusted him. And now that trust is eroded. And there's nothing worse for a witness than for a person to trust. I mean, think to your own relationships and your own friendships where you got betrayed by somebody and now you can't trust this person anymore. It hurts, right? It hurts. Now, luckily, they're not so attached to Burgess, the jury, because they've only listened to him for an hour and a half. It's not like they've listened to him for a year and a half. That would have been much more painful to know that you've been deceived for so long. But still, this is the government's case. They're trying to convict an innocent woman, or in the juror's eyes, they're trying to convict a woman who allegedly killed, you know, John O'Keefe, her boyfriend. And you're putting on a witness that openly admits, yes, I lied. Yeah, I lied here, and yes, I lied here. Well, nobody accesses that stuff. And those excuses are just like the twisting of the knife that is already in his torso, not in his back. The jury is totally Julius Caesaring him right now with their eyeballs. They are murdering him because they're so angry that he lied to them. Trust me, I've seen it. I can imagine it. I know it's happening just by looking at his... He can't even look at the jury. He's staring straight ahead. He is mortified that he's been caught, and it's coming out. He has no choice. He has to deal with it. He did it. He did it.
So you believe you know apparently when people are looking at it and what they look at?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying generally.
Generally.
Correct.
But you don't know who's looking at the education section on your LinkedIn page and relying upon what is represented here, that you have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Not from the LinkedIn page. Yeah, just independently of the LinkedIn page, yes.
No, I swear, he sounds like Lynette Preston, for those of you What the Hell's followers. He literally just said, my mother is not dead, but my mother is dead. It's just like Lynette. My mother didn't die. It's not on the LinkedIn page. Well, it is on the LinkedIn page, but...
Sit here today, that page is still live on your LinkedIn, correct?
Correct.
So a key aspect of your credentials, whether or not you have obtained a Bachelor of Science, is incorrect in more than one document that I've presented here today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
And the one previously to that, there's two documents that have you listed. This LinkedIn, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Get him, Alessi.
So there's two documents, is there not, sir? And Exhibit 185 that's in evidence, if you can turn to the second page. So if you...
It would have been better for Burgess at this point to say, yes, it's on two documents. Just let it go, man. Fighting it will only make it more painful.
At each of those...
I swear, by the time this guy is done with testimony, he's going to need a lawyer. And by the way, if you need a lawyer, call us. 1-844-774-HURT, 1-844-774-HURT. Trial lawyers are standing by to get you the most money that we can under the law. because trial lawyers get you more money. Why? Because insurance companies hate and despise and are scared of trial lawyers. So if you've been injured in the last year, give us a call. We may be able to get you some compensation from either the government or the insurance company. 1-844-774-HURT. Back to the video.
State that you have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. So there are 2 documents about your credentials that are inaccurate, correct?
Yes, that have
There you
errors,
go.
Yes, that is correct.
May I have those back,
Sure.
sir?
You
Yeah,
should have
next
just
document
admitted it, buddy.
For identification only at this point. Handing the witness Exhibit XX for identification. Do you recognize that document, sir?
So it appears to be a CV, yes.
You say it appears to be a CV. Can you describe that any further?
Yes, so it's a copy of my CV.
Is that a CV
there you go.
prepared, sir?
It would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end.
Sorry, it would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
Yourself or Aperture?
Correct.
But you had, at a minimum, a role in preparing that, did you not?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, and you would have reviewed that, because it's about you, before it would have been used by Aperture, correct?
More than likely, yes.
You wouldn't let somebody put a CV up and out to the public without you reviewing it, would you, sir?
So there are other staff members that do review and
That's not the
update
question he asked.
CVs.
But you're the only one who's going to know whether what's on it is accurate or not, correct?
Unless I explain that to them, yes.
So either way, either you prepared it yourself or you interacted with somebody and explained it and collaborated with them to make sure it was right to the best of your ability, correct?
Correct.
If you can look at the highlighted portion, sir, under education.
There's no well, I understand
sorry.
what you're talking about. There's no highlighted portion.
I'm sorry, let's strike that. If you look under education, the first line, it says in the right underneath BGS. Do you see that, sir?
I do, yes.
And then to the right, it says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, 2022. Did I read that correct?
Yes,
Oh
you
my
did.
God, he did it
And
again?
Up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a photograph.
Yes, there is.
Is that you, sir, in the photograph?
Yes, it is.
And in the spelling of your name, Shannon, that's with one N, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so that is not only you in the photograph, that's the spelling of your name with one N, correct?
Correct.
And that's the correct spelling of your first name with one N, correct?
Yes, it is.
So that's definitely you represented in this document, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now let's look at the first line that relates to
Oh
education.
my God, this guy.
It states Bachelors of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That is what it states, yes.
And the date is 2022, correct?
No
Correct.
way.
So this document represents that you received your Bachelor's of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration in 2022, correct?
That is what it states, but there are a number of errors in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Right, Sherlock.
So let's go on.
Your investigative abilities as to your own curriculum vitae are impeccable, sir. What do you want, a cookie?
Is the third example, am I correct, sir? Well, let me...
The jury got it.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I offer Exhibit XX into evidence.
No objection.
Okay.
Sir, is Exhibit 187 a CV that is linked directly from Aperture's website?
I do not know. I would have to look and check that.
So as you sit here today, you are not able to state whether that CV is linked directly from Aperture's website?
Correct.
Here's the thing. He can try all he wants to like juggle his way or gymnastic his way out of this. The problem is the jury doesn't believe a single word that he's saying, and they're trusting Alessi now because Alessi is the bringer of truth. He has been the entire trial, and he's bringing them another truth. So they are very hungry for truth. They don't like deception, just like you don't like being lied to. The jury doesn't like being lied to. So the jury actually listening to all of this, I am convinced that even though he's going to say, well, I had no hand in it, it was staff member and Aperture, they're going to say, look, buddy, it's your CV, it's your responsibility. Therefore, you are responsible. It doesn't matter if you didn't directly say, like, hey, put the year 2022 on there. Like, obviously, that would be the most egregious, but anything short of that is egregious still. And the jury knows it.
So this is a third example of a document that incorrectly states that you have a Bachelor of Science when you do not possess that degree, correct?
It has errors or outdated information, correct?
Well, when you say outdated, how is it that you can call a date outdated next to something that you don't possess?
Yeah.
I don't understand your question.
Yeah,
Well,
because
just used the
you don't have a
phrase
degree.
Either incorrect or outdated. I'm trying to understand your statement that it's
Sure. So
outdated. Isn't it either you have a Bachelor of Science degree or you don't? Isn't?
I have represented I do not have a bachelor's degree.
You know what I would respect? If this guy sat there and said, sir, and without all of this, like if he didn't have a degree, and Alessi would have been like, well, you don't have a degree, sir. It'd be like, sir, I graduated from high school with or without honors, doesn't matter. I hold a high school degree. My level of expertise in this field surmounts those that have spent years studying this field. And here's why. I have been, blah, 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 experiments this. I've been doing this and that. You know how much respect I would have for this gentleman if that's what happened instead of this garbage? If he has just maintained, I don't need no fancy degree, sir, hanging on the back of my wall. I got me a high school education and I know my stuff. Alessi would have been like, no further questions, Your Honor. Let's talk about something else. Like that would exude confidence, and I would be fearful of this man, and I would listen and trust everything he has to say because that man knows his stuff. But this guy is just like, well, I pretended to have a degree and I lied to everybody about it, but I didn't know that I was lying. I think. I mean, it wasn't me. I didn't write it. Well, I wrote this one, but I didn't write that one, and I didn't write that one, and that year that's outdated. It's not 2022. It's doesn't exist. Like, no, man. I have no respect for you. You're a liar, a deceiver, and the jury hates you.
Right. But in here, it's represented that you do, correct?
Yes, it is
All
an
right.
error, yes.
So, let's look at what the name is that are on these documents. It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Are you aware that there's no degree at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, called a Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration?
Yes, I am, and that is one of the errors I identified.
So you would agree.
Wait a minute. So there's not even the degree that he's naming doesn't exist now? Oh my God, this is getting better and better.
Not even a degree called Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration offered at the University of Alabama, correct?
Correct. That should be Bachelor of General Studies with minor in Mathematics and Business Administration.
And what you just articulated, you do not possess as you sit here today, correct?
That is correct.
What you possess is an associate's degree, correct?
Correct.
And when did you obtain that associate's degree?
So that would have been 2015.
Are you familiar with the term mendacity?
I am not.
Are you familiar with a CV of 2015?
No, I'm not.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
No way.
No, I do not recognize this document.
Do you recall ever pursuing... may I stand here and ask some questions, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
he see the document as well, or do you have a copy for him?
He can see it as well, Your Honor.
Okay. I was just wondering the purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And just step back,
Yes,
Mr. Alessi.
yep. Sir, do you recall when you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do. Around 2008.
So you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science for the first time in 2008, correct?
Correct.
If I did the math correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years, correct?
That is correct.
And you have not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
And yet there are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or misinterpretation. Yes.
Errors or misinterpretation that are you stating, but you would agree those errors or misinterpretation have been in existence for some time, correct?
Yes, I'm being made aware of them now, yes.
Yeah, and they haven't been corrected for some time, correct?
Correct.
You work for insurance companies, correct?
I do work for insurance companies in addition to law firms, yes.
But you work for insurance companies, correct?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
Well, you state that right in your report in this case, don't you, sir? That you work for insurance companies?
Again, I do work for insurance companies, yes.
And what role do you play in working for insurance companies? You working for them, or are you working for the policyholders that have paid premiums or are making a claim to try to get money from an insurance company? Which role do you have?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Yeah.
So I work for the insurance company themselves.
Oh, God, that is the final nail in the coffin. He just said, I work to screw every single one of you in the jury. I work for the insurance company, and I am here to make sure that claims don't get paid when I can. To make sure that when you need money from the insurance company that you've been paying for, that I find a way to deny your claim.
And in your work for the insurance company, has any of that work related to denying claims to insureds?
Objection.
Why don't I see you on this, Mr. Alessi?
Sure. Are you familiar with the phrase academic dishonesty?
Yes, I am.
Are
I
you
see.
aware that
Okay.
on April 5th, 2025, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office amended your contract? Are you aware of that, sir?
I am.
And isn't it the case that that amendment authorized the amount of $325,000 to be paid to Aperture? Isn't that what that amendment contract states?
I believe that's correct.
Wow.
So the Commonwealth is obligated to pay at least $325,000, and is that correct?
That is you're asking me a legal opinion now about a contract. That is my understanding of how contracts work, but I'm certainly not an attorney.
Well, dude, you're making yourself look like a fool. It's a simple question. Was the contract amended or not? $325,000? You cannot be serious. Okay, you guys, I'm about to tell you something that you're probably not ready for. There are experts out there that are insanely expensive. Insanely expensive. Some of the most expensive experts are going to be those in like a medical malpractice case. I handle medical malpractice cases, 1-844-774-HERD. If you need us, call us. But not the point of this. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'm about to blow your minds from experience. There was a case that my friend and his dad, they have a law firm, they settled very recently. It was a Ford rollover case. The bearings, the weight bearing of the Ford was insufficient, and the Ford rolled over, the woman got crushed, and Ford ended up paying 8-figure settlement, somewhere in that region, I believe. I don't have any evidence of this. It's just things I've heard on the grapevine. In Georgia. This was in Georgia. And the experts in that case, because I was curious, like, how much did they spend? Collectively, on all of the experts, every single expert who testified in that case, or was going to testify, they did the deposition. I mean, they spent years on that case down in Georgia. It was less than $250,000. All experts combined. And it was one of the most highly, litigated cases. Like, anytime you think like pharmaceuticals, tobacco, car manufacturers, that sort of thing, you're going to get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars because you have 20 experts lined up, and you have to also pay for the depositions of your opponent's experts. So it gets really, really pricey, it gets really expensive, and that's normal. In a normal case that's like a personal injury case, your experts are going to run you $5,000. If it's a multi-million-dollar wrongful death case, your experts may run you about $100,000 collectively, total, on a $10, $20, $30, $40 million case. Aperture is getting $325,000 as a single expert, not including all the other experts that they paid for. That is a bribe. That's a bribe. It is not commensurate with industry standards. It is not commensurate with industry practices. It is not commensurate with industry rates. It is not commensurate with anything but I need you to say what I need you to say, and I'll give you anything you want for it. Okay, give us $250,000. Okay, here you go. Okay, we'll say what you need us to say. Thank you. Nice doing business with you. It's a bribe. That is the dead giveaway that it's a bribe. You piece of...
On top of that, are you aware that Aperture has been already paid $44,510 for its work? Are you aware of that?
The second time you asked me, no. I'm not aware of anything we've been paid.
And as you stated yourself, those amounts reflect, as you say, less than 6 months worth of work?
That's not what I said.
Well, no, my question is, you've been on the case, you said, since September of 2024, when we were talking about dates. You said that was about 6 months that your firm's been retained. Did I have your answer correct about how long you've been on it?
I guess it's closer to 8 months.
All right, so 8 months. So for 8 months of work, about $400,000. Is that correct?
So there's 3 offices working on the case. There's the Boston office.
So?
There's Mr. Burgess's office, and there's my office in Long Beach.
So?
I only know about the billing from my office.
But you signed the contract on behalf of all of Aperture,
yes,
not just your office, correct?
Yes.
That I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
But I definitely did sign a contract.
Would it refresh your recollection
I'm so over this guy.
who you signed the contract on behalf of, whether it's all of Aperture in all offices, if I showed you the contract?
Sure.
May I put you on it?
Yes.
Dr. Welcher, does that refresh your recollection as to the contract you signed on behalf of Aperture with the Commonwealth?
So it lists the legal address as my office. So for my office, yes.
So are you saying that therefore, and did you see the amount that was in the contract? Did that refresh your recollection?
Oh, no, I didn't even look at that.
Do you recall the amount that of obligation that the contract relates to in this document? Do you recall that?
You just asked me that earlier, and I'm taking what you said to be true. So I was like $325,000. I have no reason to disbelieve that.
And is there also a total, do you recall the total maximum obligation for the contract that's listed in the contract? You
No.
recall it? May I approach your Honor?
Okay.
I am now pointing to that part and see if you can just look at that and see whether this refreshes your recollection on the maximum obligation of the contract pursuant to this contract. Without saying what it is, just does it refresh your recollection?
No, but I don't have any reason to believe it's not correct. And that is my signature on it.
We got started on this conversation tying it to, well, we got started on this conversation with regard to a statement you made earlier in your direct that you didn't have any dog in the hunt. You recall that statement in the beginning of your direct testimony.
You misquoted me. I don't have any dog in the fight.
You don't have any dog in the fight.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, switching topics.
Okay.
You submitted an updated PowerPoint presentation, the one that you went over on your direct examination. You created that presentation quite recently, correct, sir?
The updated one was where I had redacted or taken out slides. So in terms of taking out slides, I did add one alternative path a couple weeks ago.
Wow, this scumbag. He knows he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, getting paid by Morrissey's office nearly $400,000. He is officially the most high-paid expert for a single case, possibly in the history of the United States. I have never heard of any expert being paid that much for a criminal case. Usually in civil cases where the stakes are high, I mean, I can see maybe some experts somewhere if it's like a tobacco case, and you'd still not as I can't think of a single expert that would be paid this much. It's a bribe, folks. It's 100% a bribe. There's no other way to describe it.
I have no relation to this case, so...
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if you want to be here today.
Objection, this isn't direct.
So it's your witness.
I understand.
She can, no comments, just questions. Not, I understand that.
Do you want to be here today, ma'am?
I am put on the stand in a murder trial. I don't know why I'm here. I have no connection to this case.
You have no idea why you're here?
You've never talked to me. Nobody on the fence seems to talk to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
Oh, wow.
No clue whatsoever, as you sit here, why you might have been called to the stand.
No.
Are you uncomfortable testifying?
No, it's part of my job.
You're a professional police officer, correct?
Correct.
That means you're a professional witness to a certain degree, correct?
In the crimes that I've gone on the stand before, yes, I have been.
And you understand the oath?
Yes, I do.
What is that oath?
The oath is to tell the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, correct?
Objection.
What? Wait! How can you object to testify the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Objection. We're lying here, Your Honor. Sustained. Lies are permitted, Mr. Jackson. You know this. What?
Is there more to that oath when you raise your right hand as a witness?
I'm objecting.
So I'm going to see it side by for just
What on earth is happening?
One of the monitors that you had access to back on January 29th did show the footage from, or did it show the footage from that, one of the other Sallyport garage cameras?
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure, it was a little bit clunky on my part. Did one of the monitors that you looked at, that you had access to at the dispatch area, did it show the video footage or the video feed from the Sallyport garage?
So I already said I don't remember where in dispatch the screen with the cameras was. There was a camera in the Sallyport. So if I'm going to make the assumption, then yes, of course. But now that's an assumption.
I'm not asking you for an assumption. Yeah. I'm asking you, did one of the feeds, now we're talking about the camera, the other side of the camera is the feed. Do you recall whether or not there was footage that you could see on a monitor in the dispatch area that showed the Sallyport?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
My clarification.
How long?
So, look, I don't know what that means. So what do you mean you're going to go with yes? Is your answer yes?
Yes.
Thank you. What time about did you take over the dispatch desk that morning?
Immediately following when the 911 call came in.
Would have been 6-ish in the morning. Does that sound about right?
Sometime, I would say towards the later of my shift, but it was the middle of winter and dark out, so I don't know if it was 4, 5, 6.
Understood. But it was still dark out.
Yes.
Once you took over the dispatch desk, did you stay there even past your normal shift ending to support the investigation that was ongoing?
Not to support the investigation. I was just on overtime.
Okay. So you stayed past your normal end time of your shift that day?
Yes, on overtime.
You stayed into the afternoon, correct?
I believe the shift ended at 3:45 p.m. for the Canton Police.
But you stayed past your ending shift time, correct?
Objection.
I'm sorry, I'll rephrase it. Did you stay past your ending shift time?
For my regular shift, yes, because I was on overtime on the day shift.
Did you observe anything unusual that stood out in your mind that occurred, pardon me, in the Sallyport while you were on that shift?
So we've discussed this previously. I can't make that statement on the stand because I've been provided information released by the defense that it was not a memory, that it was a distorted memory. Therefore, I can't state it because at this point it would be a lie. I cannot make that statement that you're wanting me to make on the stand because I've advised that that would be a lie.
Wait. Hold on. I had you up until that last statement, Ms. Dever. You are manning the cameras. You're in dispatch. You are looking at stuff. You have a vague memory of what happened 3.5 years ago. She keeps saying 2.5. It was 3.5. Her math is terrible. It would look better to say 3.5 years. It doesn't matter. She is insistent. You showed me something, Mr. Jackson. I can't testify to what you showed me. But Jackson is not asking her to do that. He's like, look, this is what we have. Do you have an independent memory of this? Yes or no? I'm not asking you to lie. Jackson is about to say, I'm guarantee it. Guarantee it. I would actually bet money right now that that's going to be his next question. Why? Because, again, she is a j'accuse Jackson. She's saying, you gave me stuff and you want me to testify about it and you want me to lie to these jurors and I'm not going to do that. Let's see how Jackson responds.
Ms. Dever, I've never asked you to make a statement one way or the other on the stand. I'm asking you an open-ended question.
Called it!
Did you, let me ask the question. Did you observe something in the Sallyport garage on January 29th, 2022 that you found unusual, that stuck out in your mind?
Given factual information that makes it so I know I did not, no.
So the answer is no.
Correct.
Do you remember being interviewed on August 9th, 2023?
Aha, impeachment.
That was by a separate law enforcement agency, correct?
FBI?
Yes.
2 separate law enforcement agents, is that right?
Yes.
And you were advised during the course of that interview on August 29th of something, correct?
Can you rephrase
I'm sorry,
that?
August 9th.
So what was I advised of? Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Were you advised that lying to those officers would be a crime?
So it was a willing conversation. I've spoken with their legal team. Because of the fact I was providing factual information that showed a statement of mine was a false memory, it was not a lie. Therefore, I made it in good faith, and I retracted given information that it could not be accurate.
Ms. Dever, did you understand my question?
Yes, I did.
What
you
the
threatened
hell?
to charge me with perjury during our phone call prior to the first trial if I didn't lie on the stand right now.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
I did not see
Whoa!
anything. Factually, I've been provided evidence by a timeline that it is not correct.
Ms. Dever, my question was this.
Wait. Hold on. Time out. Let's listen to that again.
Given information that it could not be accurate.
Ms. Dever, did you understand my question?
Yes, I did. You threatened to charge me with perjury during our phone call prior to the first trial if I didn't lie on the stand right now.
You threatened to charge me with perjury if I didn't lie again on the stand right now. Lie again? Or actually speak the truth, and now your lie is the opposite of what happened, and Jackson wants you to tell the truth about what happened, what you said previously, but now because you changed it to a lie, now it's perjury because you changed your testimony. Very clever, Ms. Dever. Very clever.
Now, I'm telling you, I did not see anything. Factually, I've been provided evidence by a timeline that it is not correct.
Jennifer McCabe's timeline?
My question was this. Were you advised that it was a crime to lie to those law enforcement agents? Yes or no?
No.
They never told you, they never admonished you that it would be a crime to lie to them?
Objection.
Sustained. As to form, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Did they advise you of anything? Any consequences of lying to them?
So we had a willing conversation.
Yes or no?
I don't recall.
Okay, there's your answer.
You don't recall if they advised you of anything?
No, because it wasn't.
As a trained law enforcement agent,
Go ahead and ask a question, but both of you only one at a time, okay?
as a trained law enforcement officer, are you aware that it's a crime to lie to certain other law enforcement agents?
When you have intent to lie, yes.
Okay. So you knew that when you spoke to these law enforcement officers, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell these law enforcement officers that you, in fact, saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz go into the Sally Port with the SUV? May I finish my question?
You can finish this question. Go ahead.
Did you tell those law enforcement agents on August 9th, 2023, that you saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz go into the Sally Port together and alone with the SUV for a wildly long time?
That was my recollection at the time.
So you did say that?
At the time, that is what I recollected.
Okay. You and I spoke along with Mr. Jannetty and Ms. Little on the car.
Oh. She is a smoking gun witness, folks. What is a smoking gun witness, you might ask? Let me tell you. So, Ms. Dever has provided information to the FBI in an interview on August 9, 2023. It was a candid, she's not lying about that. It was a candid conversation, and she recalled a memory. Chief Berkowitz and, was it Sergeant Good, Buchanan, Higgins and Berkowitz go into the Sally Port to be alone with the SUV for an extended period of time. She said that to the FBI agents. Later, she realized, oh, this is really incriminating against Higgins and Berkowitz and the Alberts. I better retract this statement. That's why she's so uncomfortable, because she has to lie about telling the truth previously. That makes so much sense. And Jackson did almost certainly threaten her with perjury if she tries to change her testimony. But let her change the testimony. This is magnificent for the defense. This is absolutely magnificent. I know some people said that Peter Tragos, I think Petey said that this is not good for the defense. I completely disagree. Completely. I think if you look at it from the lens of the jury, they see this woman as a dishonest, manipulative liar. They already trust Jackson. Jackson has a proven track record of providing them with really juicy information. Especially if you remember when Annie and Will, when I went on Will's channel, they told me that when Jackson was questioning one of the witnesses, the jurors were following Jackson like everywhere he went. So that shows already, we know that they have an element of trust towards Alan. And as a result of that, if he puts a witness on the stand and he has obviously threatened her with perjury, they're going to think, well, you must have done something, lady. Otherwise, why else would he? And her attitude, her inability to look at the jury, her staring straight ahead, her cocky, meh, I do what I want attitude. Trust me, the jurors are so put off and turned off by it, it's making their heads spin. Whoo, I love this.
Conference call last year sometime. You remember that?
Yes.
Between the time that you were interviewed on August 9th, 2023, and when we spoke sometime in maybe it was April or so of last year, does that sound about right?
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with any other party about your potential involvement in this case?
No.
Did you have a conversation with anybody in the commissioner's office at Boston Police Department?
Not about anything malicious.
I didn't use the word malicious.
Wait, whoa. That's a guilty mind. That's a guilty mind. That's a Jen McCabe. Yeah, we talked. It was nothing nefarious, Dr. Nefario.
I had a conversation, but it was my department saying, regardless of what I need to say on the stand, they support me.
You were asked to go to the commissioner's office, correct?
Yes.
How long had you been on the Boston Police Department at the time that you were invited to go up to Commissioner Michael Cox's office?
It had to have been before the first trial. So, and I know it was when the agency released information to outside people.
That's not my question.
And by the
Okay, so I
way,
don't recall.
she keeps talking first trial. The jurors, we already know that they already know about the first trial, but now it's reinforced 10 times over.
Okay. You don't recall how long you had been on the force, generally, at the time that you were called up to the commissioner's office, on the Boston Police Department?
No.
Was it 5 years, 2 years, 2 months? Give me a ballpark.
So I've been on the department for 2 years and 2 months. I would say somewhere in the range of a year.
Okay. Did you find it unusual would you call yourself a rookie back then?
Yes.
Did you find it unusual that a rookie police officer would be called up to the commissioner's office personally to discuss an matter?
It was a reflection of how good of a leader he is. It was not anything that I found unusual, given the fact he is someone who wanted to show support for his officer.
So I'm guessing all of your training class or all of your entry classes at Boston PD, they've all gone up to the commissioner's office as well?
I don't know anyone else who's been in this particular circumstance.
Do you know anybody else who's been called up to the commissioner's office at your level at Boston Police Department?
Objection.
Sustained.
She knows or she
Do you
doesn't
know
know.
any of your colleagues with your level of experience that have been called up to the commissioner's office for a specific instance?
Objection.
That's sustained.
Now, when you went up to the commissioner's office, did you respond to his indication that he wanted to see you open his office?
It wasn't a direct line of contact from him.
Okay. Did you respond? Did you ultimately go? That's what I mean by respond. Did you go to his office?
He's my boss, so yes.
Okay. And who else was in that office?
Me and him. The two of us.
General counsel of the Boston Police Department?
No, it's just me and him.
During the conversation that we had last year, did you say that general legal counsel for the Boston Police Department was also there?
Objection.
Not during that conversation.
Objection.
Next question.
Sure. Was there another time that you went to the commissioner's office where general legal counsel was there?
No.
Have you ever met general legal counsel for the Boston Police Department?
Yes.
Was it in the commissioner's office?
No.
When was it?
During my conversation with the agents.
You took a lawyer with you to talk to this other law enforcement agency?
I'm going to see you at sidebar.
Oh. Now they know they're FBI agents, because anytime you hear agent, that's FBI or CIA, which is even worse for the Commonwealth, that there's somebody else sniffing around. Oh my God, this woman is a moron. I love her. Marry me. Sorry, Chandler.
Ms. Dever, when we left off, I was asking you about the meeting at the commissioner's office. And I want to clear this up. Was general legal counsel in that office or not when you had a meeting with the commissioner, Michael Cox?
No, it was just me and the commissioner.
At some point, did the commissioner say to you that Boston Police Department, insofar as your connection to this case is concerned, Boston Police Department fully supports you?
Yes.
Did he also say...
Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
That's a direct quote, so I can't recollect if he said a direct quote 2 years ago.
A year ago, when you talked to us, the defense, did you tell the defense that when you were called up to the commissioner's office, he told you two things? Commissioner Cox told you, number one, the Boston Police Department supports you, and Officer Deaver, do the right thing.
So he said my name correctly. He said Dever, and
that's my mistake. Let's see. Like, you want me to repeat the question so I get
So,
right?
Mr. Jackson, let's go ahead and answer, please.
yes, and he said nothing with the intent of guiding me one way or the
I
other.
asked you what his intent was, madam. I asked you what he said.
Answer the question.
What were his words to you?
That he supports me.
And
Just wanted me to tell the truth up here.
and his words were, do the right thing, right?
I don't recall.
How many other times have you testified in a court of law during the course of your job?
2 dozen, 3 dozen.
And
Actually testified probably ballpark a dozen times.
in any of those other cases, has Commissioner Michael Cox called you up to his office to discuss your testimony in any of those cases? Yes or no?
That's not a yes or a no answer.
Well, yes, it actually is, Ms. Dever.
So no comments, okay? Just
What she doesn't understand is that the more dodgy she is, and the more she tries to like dodge the question and to kind of manipulate and say, no, you're asking it incorrectly. This is not what happened. Stop insinuating. Stop trying to... The more she deflects, the more guilty she looks. Because it's like, lady, what are you hiding? Just answer the question.
The question, yes. The implication,
The question is, in any of those... I'm asking you
Yeah.
an open-ended question. In any of those cases, Officer Dever, not including this...
Dever.
Has Commissioner Michael Cox ordered you up to his office to discuss your testimony?
no.
Thank you. Attorney
Honor, the defense moves for a mistrial with prejudice based upon intentional misconduct that just occurred before the court and for the jury. And what I'd like to do, Your Honor, this regards the hoodie, and this regards questioning and representations in questioning by Mr. Brennan. And what I'd like to and need to do, Your Honor, is to have 2 documents marked as exhibits, and then I am going to use Exhibit 88, which is an evidence, which is the hoodie, which is why I'm putting on the evidence gloves, and it will become quite obvious very shortly what the issues are.
all right. So what are the things that you want to have marked?
I would like to have marked the first document. These 2 documents are from criminalist file, specifically Ms. Maureen Hartnett's notes regarding cuttings from the hoodie sweatshirt that's in the crime lab file folder.
Okay.
So the first, the back of the hoodie. So with Your Honor's permission, I would have that marked for identification. That is the back of the hoodie, Your Honor.
To read this, Mr. Alessi. So is it that there are no holes in the back? There were no holes on the back of the sweatshirt?
That's only part of it, but that is in fact the case, Your Honor.
Okay. I can't tell entirely from ZZZ, but if that's your argument, why for identification appears to support that.
Your Honor, what we just saw is Attorney Brennan question Dr. Wolf with regard to the hoodie sweatshirt that heretofore has been in the plastic casing for trial. And this is the, what happened was Attorney Brennan held up the casing with a hoodie sweatshirt, went to the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. First point to note, Mr. Brennan did not show Mr. Jackson the back of the hoodie sweatshirt, didn't give Mr. Jackson an opportunity to look at it. So to do it in order, Mr. Brennan takes the hoodie sweatshirt in the casing without notice, shows it to Dr. Wolf, and shows the back of the hoodie, which has certain holes, and I'm going to limit calling them holes to do this chronologically. I'm going to refer to exactly what they are in moments.
Okay, so I need to see it. I know you've got gloves on. Where is it right now?
So here is the back of the hoodie.
All right, thank you.
It's very obvious that these are cutting holes cut by the criminalists, and I'm going to get to the back of this me alone. But I would like to do it, and certainly entertain any honor question put in a logical order.
Sure, so I'm not, what about the jurors and lunch? How long do you think this will be?
I think this will take about 10 to...
What? You're joking, Bev. You're joking. Alessi is making an insane argument to you, asking for a mistrial, and she's just like, listen, how long is this going to take? I don't have time for this. It's lunchtime almost. Like, Bev, you outdo yourself every time without fail.
15 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to get the flow back going here in the logic. So, and I'll do it quickly. So Mr. Brennan grabs the hoodie sweatshirt inside the casing, doesn't show it to Attorney Jackson, goes up. We have no idea that this was going to happen. Goes up, confronts the witness, Dr. Wolf, shows the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. To my knowledge, the first time the back has been referenced of the hoodie sweatshirt. Shows Dr. Wolf, confronts him, and basically says, couldn't these holes be caused, and I'm paraphrasing, from a fall backwards? Obviously positing in the juror's mind after, remember, we just saw all kinds of videos with regard to Rescue Randy and impact at 24, 29 miles an hour, more aptly 29 miles per hour, and damage to the hoodie, etc. So what then happens is Dr. Wolf is asked a series of questions, very much with the indication that somehow, in the clear implication, that these holes are being caused by road rash, and that the holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt, Exhibit 88, could have been or likely were caused with regard to some type of impact. Clearly presented to the jurors with that in mind in that questioning. Here is the basis for the mistrial with prejudice.
By the way, see, when Hanky raises his voice, it comes off as hollow, empty, meaningless. Alessi is angry because Brennan just lied openly in open court about a critical fact. Critical, absolutely crucial. Holes in the back of the sweatshirt. If there are holes showing evidence of like sliding on ice or ground or asphalt or whatever, like there were in the Rescue Randy video, I mean, that is going to taint the jurors' minds, and it is false. It is a lie. Alessi is angry, and he's conveying his anger. When Brennan is up there yelling, it's just like, child, sit down. Why are you yelling? Your anger is misplaced. It has no basis in reality. It is misguided. It is empty, hollow. You're just loud for no reason. See the difference?
Those holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt are clearly, unequivocally, without doubt, caused nothing to do with any type of event on or about January 29, 2022.
So do you have something you said, when you said obviously cut by the criminalist, do you have something that shows that chart that I couldn't understand quickly? Is it on that?
Yes, Your Honor. What we have is two documents to show that.
Right. So the second one, when was that provided?
These, when you say provided, you mean with regard to when did the defense get these in a discovery? Let me get the date, Your Honor.
Sure.
Notice of discovery, May 2023.
Okay, thank you.
And I will note, Exhibit YYY. The only, I believe, I'm holding up YYY, which is the back of the hoodie. I believe is the only one, to my knowledge, not put into evidence, not turned into evidence. This is the one that it clearly shows the hoodie before the criminalist started her work with the cuts. There are no cuts to YYY, and if we need to, we'll bring Ms. Hartnett in to confirm.
All right, so is ZZZ in evidence?
ZZZ is not in evidence, and that is part of the basis for the mistrial. It is no coincidence that these two documents are not in evidence, because if they were in evidence, they would clearly have prevented the stunt that we just saw occur with regard to Dr. Wolf. So that is part of the intentional misconduct, Your Honor, is these are...
I'm not going to lie. I wish I was there that day. I wish I was in court witnessing this in person. Unfortunately, I was there the day before on Friday. This was Monday, June 9th. But still, I am eating this with a spoon. And by the way, have you noticed those two little crap stains that are sitting right next to Alessi? And they're just like... She's making like all sorts of faces at him. I'm like, learn to control yourself, okay? A grown man is speaking. Sit down, child.
Documents from the criminalist's file. It's the Commonwealth's documents. And it is very clear when you go to Exhibit ZZZ, the cuts that the criminalist made to the back of the hoodie are specified.
So where on that? Because when I quickly looked at it,
Oh my God,
What
Matt.
does it say? Go ahead and read it to me, please.
It's item number 7. I'll read it from the top. LIMS 22-218-4. Analyst MSH, which is the initials for Ms. Hartnett. Dates.
I swear, do you notice Bev's gaslighting of Alessi, by the way? She's gaslighting him. She's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't quite understand. Can you explain? I don't know. You understand everything, Bev. You're just pretending like you're not. Sit down!
11/2022, May 12, 2023, and then May 18, 2023. And what she does is she's got the...
You know what? Can you bring it up to Ms. Wolf?
I certainly can, Your Honor. And I can conduct my argument from right here if that helps, Your Honor.
And just sort of point out to me where it says, where it shows the gap.
This is the backs. So you can see the back of the hoodie. That's the back of the hoodie head. And then you can see the various...
She's pretending like she cares.
Next week. He's running. You should come up and make a decision.
And I'm cutting.
So Mr. West is due. This is why.
Identity English here was said.
Disgusting.
Can I get it? I'll check. He was cut. I mean, he was right. But if I can, just
I want to clarify this. Yes, I get well in this one. Let me just make sure I did.
Mr. Jackson, it says exterior front, what Mr. Alessi was pointing me to.
Oh, Brennan knows. Brennan knows. Look at his face. He's just like, he had that whelp, like, well, shoot. Because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know how the judge is going to rule. The judge could grant a mistrial, theoretically. If she was a real judge, you know, she's not a real judge. She's just the Commonwealth's play puppet. So because she's not a real judge, she's obviously going to rule in their favor and against the defense no matter what happens. I mean, there could literally be a, there was, I think it was Runkle of the Bailey. He made a pretty funny tweet. He was like, Brennan could show up and shoot and kill 3 of the jurors in open court, and Bev would just sit there and be like, I'll allow it. Anyway, do we still have enough jurors to render a decision? All right, Mr. Brennan, please continue with your questioning of the witness. Like, that's how egregious this is. And he's absolutely right. Shout out to you, buddy. I met him at the Johnny Depp trial in May of 22, like 3+ years ago.
I keep with your low U print, the back, and Your Honor, are you comfortable using the computer at the back?
because I think we just had the wrong one.
We need to mark it, though.
Understood. He's pretty here right now. We wanted to have the front and the back to show all the cuttings, but what only printed out was the front. We are now printing the back. Your Honor is correct. So, Your Honor, what is being printed is which we will mark, will be the front of the hoodie. The purpose of Exhibit ZZZ and the one that is being printed is to show and to give the court, and we're going to request to give to the jury the complete picture and the complete true story about these holes in the hoodie that were presented as if they were caused in some manner by something else other than the...
So that seems perfectly reasonable, and I'd be inclined to do that.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. And here is the reason for the motion for a mistrial with prejudice. On its own, to do this, and you put together all of the parts of what just occurred, you start with the fact that and if I could, Your Honor, now that I have it get marked so I can then refer to it.
All right.
Thank you.
Can you print extra copies too, so I can have my own copy?
Absolutely.
And for the Commonwealth to see?
Then I'm going to show the Commonwealth what I just printed.
I mean, I will give Alessi that he's definitely got the judge bothered. Look at her covering up her face and like looking very uncertain and unhappy. She doesn't like, I mean, look, she lets Brennan get away with a lot of stuff, okay? That is a known fact by now. But even Brennan should know where to pump the brakes, okay? And Brennan decided in his infinite wisdom that he's going to cross not one, not two, but 3 lines in one fell swoop and hopefully go undetected, protected by Auntie Bev, you know, the pretend judge basically a prosecutor in a robe, as we like to call her. And we all know who those judges are in our own practice, attorneys here in Kentucky. We know who those judges are. The problem is this is the only judge that they have on this case, and she's been on this case in trial 1 and now trial 2, and if there's going to be trial 3, she may be on there as well, if she stays on. But anyway, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Folks, let me tell you, when I am saying that Alessi has got a magnificent point and Bev actually is rattled by it, is a little surprising. I'm not going to lie, because up until this point, Bev just lets everything slide. She just lets Brennan get away with everything, like I said. Even if he came in, executed 3 jurors, she'd be like, all right, moving on to your next witness, Mr. Brennan. You know, there is nothing stopping these two. And by that, I mean Brennan and Bev. So I love the fact that she, even in her corruption, she can't hide her despair at Alessi's motion and anger. So at least it's something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. I wish there was more, but you all will see what I mean in a minute. Spoiler alert.
Maybe you score for you.
Sure.
It gives another document chain must be happy.
Well, Mr. Brennan, since viewing that, when I had to, Madam Court Recorder, the chain of custody document for the next vacuum mark is the next exhibit in order.
Okay.
And then with Your Honor's permission, I would have Madam Court Recorder again and both up to Your Honor so Your Honor can see what I'm referencing.
Thank you.
Exhibit BBB, B for ID.
You.
Here's documents of what.
Do you need this, Mr. Alessi?
I do not need either of them, Your Honor, and I have the extra copies as well. Thank you. Okay, so Your Honor, I now have enough copies for Your Honor and for your common law.
Thank you.
If I did have one set, that would be rare.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
We still do not have ZZ's. Im.
What?
All right. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Alessi.
So, Your Honor, to do this quickly chronologically, so we have a hoodie sweatshirt that was brought into the criminalist, Ms. Hartman, with the back of the hoodie with no holes on it. The criminalist makes cuts to the back of the hoodie, makes cuts to the front of the hoodie. The exhibit, Your Honor, depicts those. There's a chain of custody document that describes the chain of custody for the hoodie and the cuts in the chronology. And of course, we have Exhibit 88, which is the hoodie. So, what Mr. Brennan did, and I'm now pulling Exhibit 88, he holds up the back of the hoodie, which has cuts in the back from the criminalist, somebody from the Commonwealth, a witness in this case, Ms. Hartman, she's testified, and Mr. Brennan has indicated he wants her to come back and testify, which we welcome. And now what we have is we have holes in the back of the sweatshirt that were dramatically held up to and confronted with Dr. Wolf, and then the jury sees it.
Disturbing.
With the clear, unmistakable, purposeful intention of having the jury conclude that these holes could have come from events on January 29th of 2022, when in fact the Commonwealth well knows from its own documents, from its own criminalist,
yes,
that those holes in the back were caused by their criminalist as part of their examination and sampling of the hoodie.
I think I learned why these two crap stains are rolling their eyes, because they know that Brennan was caught red-handed and they have nothing, and they're just terrified and upset that they were caught. They're not upset at Alessi. They're actually upset at Brennan for getting caught in this charade, because you're supposed to fly under the radar, and he decided to fly above the radar for a minute, and this is what happens. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable stuff.
What could be more egregious?
Nothing.
What could be more misleading than that? And what could be more important for a context than the alleged collision that never occurred? That's the topic before some of the most significant and probative witnesses in this trial that the Commonwealth has been attacking from the jump of pretrial. They picked the most opportune, sensitive time to pull this stuff. This is intentional.
Yes.
This is irremediable.
Yes.
This is on the key issue of this case, whether there was any collision at all.
By the way, just for the record, for those of you who may not be attorneys out there, Alessi knows he's going to lose this argument. He already knows. He's making it for appeal purposes, just in case, if on the off chance the jury does end up convicting or something happens, they have this issue on appeal. Trust me when I say this, when Alessi is up there arguing with passion, fervor, emotion, and arguing the truth, he knows that in any normal court, it would be granted and he would win. But this is not a normal court. This is a corrupt fantasy kangaroo court. And because of that, he already knows he's going to lose the motion, but he has to argue passionately because he's doing it on behalf of his client, which is Karen Reed. So it doesn't matter. Even though I've done this before myself. When you know 100% everything you are saying is about to be overruled, denied, whatever, but you have to do it anyway. It is a very, very, unique position to be in when you're arguing with passion and everybody's listening. Yes, yes, yes. And then you're like, but it's going to get denied and denied. Oh, okay. Anyway, moving on to my next point. Next witness, Mr. Alessi. You know, it's like there's no winning. There's absolutely no winning in this courtroom except for the prosecution. Prosecution just has to. Oh, Mr. Alessi, did you sigh deeply? Is there a problem? Can I get you a glass of water? Like, that's Bev with Brennan. You know what I mean? Mr. Brennan, are you okay? Oh, I'm just lamenting, Your Honor. What are you lamenting? Is there anything I can do for you, Hanky? I need a tissue, Judge. I need a tissue to wipe off this tear. Oh, bailiff, would you please be so kind as to provide Mr. Brennan with a tissue to wipe his little nostrils? Thank you very much, bailiff. Alessi, what do you want? Yeah, uh-huh. Okay. Anyway, Hanky, where were we?
On its own, Your Honor, on its own, this is a mistrial with prejudice. But I add to that what just happened, and I'm not going to repeat or go into other than to reference. This comes on just mere days after the Commonwealth raised the specter of absence of DNA on the same hoodie sweatshirt without having the criminalist, Ms. Kuhn from UC Davis come in. I know Your Honor already ruled on that.
All right, so let's move along from
right. Well, that's what, and I'm going to come back to this. Why is this occurring, Your Honor? Why is this happening? The Commonwealth has no case. They have no collision. They are desperate and are trying to create evidence of specters of collision where the evidence doesn't support it. So what have we come to? We've come to the manufacture of evidence.
Wow.
We've come to, incredibly, taking a hoodie, a key piece of evidence in this case, and holding up to Dr. Wolf, the ARCA expert, to try to make it seem like Dr. Wolf didn't do his job. You didn't account for these holes. How could you be a credible accident reconstructionist when you talk about some holes, but you don't talk about these holes? Knowing all along the holes that Attorney Brennan is trying to impeach Dr. Wolf on were caused by the Commonwealth's own criminalists as part of sampling.
Oh.
I don't believe one could come up with more misleading, misdirecting, elucidation of testimony than this on the key issue in the case.
I mean, do you realize how disgusting that is? Brennan knows those holes were made by the criminalist, and he is pretending, literally fantasizing, and lying openly, unapologetically to these jurors. Alessi's anger is very well placed, and it is extremely poignant and on point. There is no empty barking in his voice, like Brennan's, for example. He loves to bark with no bite. Alessi is biting and barking. Huge difference.
We have irrefutable, objective evidence, and I will state that it's more than interesting that none of these exhibits that Your Honor now has marked for identification were put in evidence by the Commonwealth. Isn't it some coincidence?
Because it hurts
that
the case.
These are the one, and the only one of the, with regard to the hoodie, the back of it's not in, all of the rest of them are, but these aren't. Your Honor, I think there is one and only one conclusion, in that this is intentional, that it is a matter of such significance and of such misconduct and intentional that it merits the sanction of a mistrial with prejudice.
And by the way, for those of you wondering, what does it mean, mistrial with prejudice? It means mistrial, the case is over, case dismissed. With prejudice means the government cannot bring the charges back. It is over, kaput, bury it. It's no zombie, no resurrection stone, nothing. Dead, 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 dead case. End of story. It's not a not guilty or a guilty. It's not we can retry it. It's just end it now. End it now.
The amount of effort, the amount of work, I can't even begin to think to remedy this in front of the jury, to go backwards on this. That should not befall the defense. That should befall the prosecution. Ms. Reed, again, is entitled, like every other defendant in this wonderful commonwealth, to a fair trial. The prosecution is supposed to be held to a higher standard, to do justice, to create a fair trial. This is the antithesis of a fair trial. Miss Reed's rights under the Constitution and the Declaration of Rights have once again been trampled on, and it is becoming evidently clear the more desperate the prosecution gets because it can't prove its theory, including its own medical examiner can't support them, that they're now resorting to conduct like this. Your Honor, at some point,
enough is enough.
This has to come to an end.
Yes.
At some point, Ms. Reed's rights have to be protected.
Yes.
At some point, confidence in the judicial system.
Yes.
The public's confidence
Yes.
in the judicial system.
Yes.
That prosecutors will conduct themselves with their duty to present a fair trial.
Yes.
That has to be enforced at some point for Ms. Reed to receive the fair trial that she and every other defendant in this Commonwealth is entitled to.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Brennan. Did you hear her voice? All right. Thank you. Not interested in anything you just had to say. Mr. Brennan, my love, do you have any words of advice on what I am going to do? Here we go.
My brief review of the lab paperwork and looking at the hoodie, it appears that I made a mistake.
Oh! I made a mistake? That's your art. Calm down, Larry. Let's see what he has to say.
And so I think what should happen is there should be a curative instruction. There should be a stipulation. The court should instruct the jury that during Mr. Brennan's cross-examination, he asked Dr. Wolf about holes on the sweatshirt or holes on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's sweatshirt.
He's trembling.
The parties agree the holes were made by a crime lab technician. This was done inadvertently, but should not have been asked. The court should strike.
This was done inadvertently? I made a mistake? Is this guy high? I want whatever drugs he's taking. You know exactly what you did, Brenny. And you did that with intent. You did that hoping you would not get called out and hoping that you would not get caught. Well, guess what? Both of those things happened, buddy. And there's no escape from it now.
Questions and the answers. And you should instruct the jury there to completely disregard any questions or answers about the holes in the back of the sweatshirt. And the court should allow the defense to introduce the lab paperwork.
All right.
Did you catch that little whelp smirk at the end? He knows he's busted. Wide open.
Oh.
Wide open.
I'm not going to allow the mistrial.
Well, of course, obviously. Of course.
What I'm going to do is instruct the jurors. I'm going to put in what's been marked for identification, Y, Z, A, and B. 4 of each letters. I'm going to put all these into evidence. They can be displayed for the jury, and I'm going to instruct the jury that during the cross-examination of Dr. Wolf, Mr. Brennan asked him about holes in the back of the sweatshirt and whether or not they perhaps could have come from events
Perhaps.
Implying or something like this.
Perhaps. What?
I instruct you, you are not permitted to draw any inference that these could have come from the events of January 29th, 2022. And I instruct you further that those holes were made by the criminalist, Ms. Harnett, during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on, I just put the dates aside because they can't see those faces.
I can't stand this woman with such
It's unclear for me. Do you have a better idea, Mr. Alessi, what day these were done? Is it all of those 3 days? Now I see a fourth day. 5/11, 5/12, 5/11/2022, 5/12/2023, and 6/18/2023. Those are the 3 dates.
Your Honor, Honorable May 18th, with the defense filed a breaking test.
I'm sorry, you guys. I can't get this look off my face. I'm just so grossed out. You'll have to excuse me. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. 1-844-774-HURT. If you want to call us, trial lawyers are standing by. 1-844-774-HURT.
That's the probative date.
So May 18th?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's 2023.
Yep. All right. That's what I'm going to do. Is there anything further you want me to include in the instruction? Your rights are saved regarding the mistrial. I disagree with you on that.
Your Honor, I'm not going to go anymore. Your Honor, I appreciate the opportunity to harass this lawyer. Instruction for Your Honor.
All right, so I'll hear you. Go ahead.
So the first, Your Honor, is with regard to two bits. One, I would like the opportunity to have the goody sweatshirt held up. Because that's
okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
That's number one as part of the stipulation.
I'm not wording it as a stipulation, and I'm not saying it was inadvertent. I am giving an instruction that they cannot consider it for this purpose, and I am allowing these to be placed into evidence. So it's not a stipulation. It's from me, which I think is more forceful.
I misspoke, Your Honor. I agree, not a stipulation, but just as Your Honor said, with regard to the matter Your Honor said to not take an inference, I would respectfully request that this be handled just like Your Honor did with regard to the rock at 34 Fairview. Your Honor said that rock wasn't present. Honor about the time.
So I do say that when I say Ms. Harnett did this. So rewording it just a little bit.
Yes,
exactly. Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Wolf about holes in the back of the sweatshirt. I instruct you that you are not permitted to draw any inference that those holes were a result of the events on January 29th, So, all right, this is what I'm going to say. So if you're not going to listen to it, that's fine. I've already said it. All right, we can bring the jury in. It's what I said, Mr. Alessi. Okay, well, all right. So it's what I said, Mr. Alessi.
I hate this woman.
I instruct you that you're not permitted to draw an inference that the holes came from the events of January 29, 2025. Those holes.
Now let's see if she actually lives up to her promise to the defense and issue the curative instruction that she claims is going to be more forceful. Anything coming from the court, the jury is going to take very seriously than if it's coming from one of the lawyers. That's absolutely true, but it has to be done the right way.
Holes were made.
Let's see.
By the criminalist Ms. Harnett during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on May 18, 2023.
In the possibly our last time I took you instead of God drawing, you should conclude that these holes were not present in the booty spreadsheet. They were caused by the criminalist.
Because that's what happened.
So I can just leave that all out then and just say Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Wolf about the holes in the sweatshirt. I instruct you that those holes were made by the criminalist Ms. Harnett during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on May 18. It's probably neater that way anyway. All right, let's bring him in, please.
Just as a housekeeping matter, the sweatshirt has been taken out of the plastic sheathing. It might need to be remarked. The plastic sheathing was marked, but if we're going to put it into a bag or something like that, we might need to have it marked. But we don't need to do that right this second.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Mr. Alessi, you're simply going to stand and hold the sweatshirt, right? Okay.
This is Exhibit 223.
In your eye, we called it, as your honor begins to read, does that thesis you on is like...
No, I want you to hold it up with the bag. You do that first, and then I'll give the instruction.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Alessi, why don't you just, where are you going to stand?
Harry,
Where are you going to stand?
I would suggest, Your Honor, right about here.
All right? So you can stand there, you can hold it up, then I'm going to ask you to put it down, and then I'll give the instruction.
And then I will return it to Mr. Bennett, with the court officer.
Yes, court officer.
Bear with me a moment, Your Honor, and then we put on a mirror.
All right, then we will take the luncheon recess. When we come back, we'll have the voir dire. Or actually, is Dr. Lepis out of here?
He's on next. We're all up. 1 year.
For just the measurements?
We're not going to show the exhibits from his heart and the class along with the last episode showing up the weaving or...
Well, I say it, and I'm going to tell her what they are, so... All right, jurors, that's the back of the sweatshirt that was shown to Dr. Wolf. Okay? Thank you. Why don't you go ahead and put it back in the bag? So, jurors, I instruct you that those holes were made by the criminalist, Ms. Harnett, during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt back on May 18th, 2023. Okay?
I know that there were some people who were saying, oh, that was not enough. And I don't know. I firmly disagree because, again, you got to read between the lines, folks. You got to read between the lines. You can't just take it at face value, especially in a corrupt kangaroo court. The jurors are aware that there is something fishy going on. Because when I was in the courtroom, I can tell you from firsthand experience, when Dr. Wolf was testifying and Alan Jackson would just say the word Welcher, objection. Welcher, objection. Welcher, objection. Let me tell you, those jurors were very unhappy because they're like, look, this guy is contradicting everything Welcher has done. Why can't he say his name? Why can't Jackson say the word Welcher without being objected to? And nobody explains to us why it just ends there. Welcher, objection, sustained. Welcher, objection, sustained. And anytime Jackson objects, objection, I'll allow that. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow that. Do you think the jury does, like, for the course of 30 days, this case has been going on for 30 actual in-court days. That is a full month of, like, cut out all the weekends, cut out all the holidays, cut out all the dark days, cut out all the days the jury had off. That's 30 days they have been in that courtroom listening to testimony. And the trial having been gone on for, what, 10 weeks now? 11 weeks? I will take it. That instruction showed that Hank Brennan is a liar, pants on fire. And trust me when I say this, folks, the jury understood that. I believe in them. I believe, maybe wrongfully so, maybe. I don't know. But I believe that they saw through the BS. They were there when Brennan was like, is this your hoodie with the holes in it? And then the judge is like, the criminalist made those holes. Anyway, moving on to your next witness. Yeah, she made it kind of like brushed it off and, you know, swept it under the rug. But she basically told the jury that Mr. Brennan lied to you. He misled you. And now I'm telling you what the truth is. Sorry, Brenny, I can't protect you on this one. Well, folks, I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you laughed. I hope you cried. I hope you went, what? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I can't believe it. What did he just say? What did she just do? Oh my goodness. I hope you had all of those reactions and more watching this video. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.